You are looking live at Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands where the New York Giants take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the only team in the NFL that is yet to win. Now look for Giant quarterback Phil Simms to have a big day against that Tampa Bay defense, which has given up an average of more than 30 points a game. Also live, you're looking at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium where the Falcons, another big disappointment this season, play host to the Washington Redskins, who are struggling to stay alive in that NFC East race. And you are now looking live at the Metrodome in Minnesota, where it's the Vikings against the Detroit Lions. The Lions have emerged as the giant killers in the NFL. Leading their attack is clutch runner James Jones, who has rushed for over 100 yards in each of his last 2 games. Elsewhere in the North Country, you're looking live at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, where the Packers are out for revenge in their rematch with the unbeaten Chicago Bears. The Packers have a new quarterback starting, Jim Zorn, and the Bears' William Perry is finally going legitimate. In addition to his circus act of carrying the ball, today the refrigerator makes his first start on the defensive line.
Last year, 2 sophomores in the NFL, quarterback Dan Marino and running back Eric Dickerson, had record-breaking seasons so incredible that they almost offended our sense of decency. No players that young should be that good so soon. Well, this year, Marino and Dickerson have discovered that the easy street they traveled to success has its pitfalls. Now they have that story.
At the start of the season, a lot of people thought the Green Bay Packers would definitely be a playoff contender. But halfway through the regular season, the Packers are nothing but a team in chaos. All that and more coming up on the NFL Today.
The 1986 Volkswagen. It's not a car, it's a Volkswagen. Xerox antifreeze and coolant. Don't face winter without it. And by AC Delco, the smart parts. And now, here's Brent Musburger.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the NFL Today as we start the second half of this NFL season. Jimmy the Greek said it last week, beware the 49ers. They're going to pick the Rams off. Verv, you were out there for that game. What about Joe Montana today against the Eagles?
Well, he has chest injuries. He's going to be out of the ball game, and Matt Cavanaugh will start a quarterback for him. Cavanaugh's had some success against the Eagles, but I kind of feel like the Eagles are going to pull off an upset today.
Let me ask you one question. When did you not feel that way?
He's as bad with the Eagles as you are with the Raiders.
I don't know about that.
As Jimmy pointed out, this has been a week of turmoil in Green Bay. Now, after last Sunday's loss to the Colts, a fight broke out in the locker room. Then came word that Coach Forrest Gregg had benched veteran quarterback Lynn Dickey and that Jim Zorn would be starting today against the Bears, who embarrassed the Packers when they played in Chicago 2 weeks ago. In fact, Green Bay's current frustrations began with that Monday night game. The Bears not only dominated the Monday night game, they added insult to injury when they gave the ball to their colorful rookie, 300-pound William Perry, who scored what turned out to be the winning touchdown. The Packers were frustrated.
We spent a lot of emotion on that game. I really emphasized it during the week. You know, forget it. It's over. Think about the Colts. But even with that, it's hard to do.
Watch number 53. He's circled. Linebacker Mike Douglas. That lack of effort allowed the Colts to score a touchdown. Then it brought about criticism by Coach Gregg afterwards in the locker room. Douglas refused to apologize to his teammates. This touched off a brawl that was heard by reporters.
We're sitting outside the locker room at Indianapolis Sunday, and after about 5 minutes, it's like I heard a buffalo, body slamming, people screaming. We knew something had went on. Well, when we went in the locker room, everybody basically stonewalled it.
Douglas and Virgil Knight, the Packers' strength coach, exchanged punches after the coach threw a soda can at the linebacker from across the room. The fight lasted about a minute, and it took 10 Packers to pull them apart. Now, quarterback Lynn Dickey is another problem in Green Bay. He tried to step aside a few weeks ago. Greg couldn't believe it then. Dickey returned, but he has not played well, and now he's sidelined. Jim Zorn will be the Packer quarterback, and Dickey is probably gone in Green Bay.
The last couple of weeks, I have not played well, and you know, someone has asked me how I felt about the remainder of the season, and I'd pretty much set my mind to that I was going to work hard, do the best I could the remainder of this season, And after this year, I'm just going to have to sit down and think about whether I'm going to retire or not.
With us live right now is Johnny Morris in Lambeau Field. He'll be covering the game for CBS. Johnny, what's the current mood of the Packers? Are they still angry?
They are angry. In fact, Brent, I have been covering pro football for a long time. I have never seen a team as angry as the Packers. Obviously, they're upset about some of the Bears' tactics they feel in that game before when they threw at the end of the football game. But the Bears have broken some tradition here. Dan Hampton, quote, accurate quote, he says, Lynn Dickey's okay, but I wouldn't give you 2 cents for the rest of the Packers. Jim McMahon says the Packers are crybabies. Mike Ditka says if the Packers don't like what the Bears did, they can do something about it on Sunday, which is today. You know, you don't do those things. Coaches usually say, hey, please don't upset the other team. Let's just go play football. Well, the Bears have dared the Packers, and we'll see what happens today.
All right, Johnny, thank you. A typical Bear-Packer game coming up. Now, a problem of a different sort exists with the New York Giants, and that is the kicking game. Jess Atkinson did the kicking for them against New Orleans. Pulled this one. Was not good, so now Atkinson is gone, and John Madden is out covering the game. And, John, maybe they should turn it over to Pat Summerall, your partner up there in the booth.
Well, Pat was out there practicing yesterday, and the problem is, you see, Pat kicks him straight, Brent, and he didn't have the shoe, so he was trying to kick him straight, and it just didn't work. So they decided if they couldn't have Pat, and if Pat had to be up here, that they would sign Eric Schubert. Now, he had been with the Giants in camp. He was coaching a local New Jersey high school. They brought him off. He practiced a couple days. In fact, yesterday morning, he practiced here with the Giants, left practice, and went and coached the high school game, and now he's coming back to kick today.
John, was it premature getting rid of Atkinson? Should they have hung on to him for another week?
No, I don't think so, Brent. I think what happened was when Jess Atkinson missed those 2 field goals last week, that was the end of him, because Bill Parcells was having a very difficult time putting up with his short kickoffs, and he felt that was really hurting his defense. In fact, the last kickoff that Atkinson kicked was to the 15-yard line, and I think that was the end of Atkinson, and I don't think that had anything to do with Ali Haji Sheik or anything. I think then they decided he can't do it, he's not going to do it for us, so they waived him. And they thought that maybe the Sheik would be ready, but when they tried him on Wednesday, he just couldn't do it. But I think all along, Bill Parcells knew that if the Sheik wasn't ready, he was going to go after Eric Schubert.
All right, John, thank you very much. Let's change the subject now to college football. Iowa losing in Columbus, Ohio. So let's make the state of Florida, the whole state, number one. Not only the Gators, who are once tied, but how about Miami and Vinny Testaverde? Florida State's still a good team, too. Then Penn State, Ohio State, Nebraska, and Air Force. Rounding out our top 10, Iowa, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Michigan, and let's honor Bowling Green, unbeaten Bowling Green, and a quarterback you should be paying attention to. Brian McClure, on the NCAA passing record list right now, he stands second to only Doug Flutie, about 900 yards behind him. He'll get a chance to play in the NFL next year. And the NFL today will continue with Dan Deerdorf joining us to take a look at those anonymous warriors, the offensive linemen, in just a moment. Herb, it's about time that people see how handsome Dan Deerdorf is. For 13 years, he wore that helmet. Great offensive lineman. Now he's a voice, a play-by-play man. Bringing you out of the cold today, big fella.
Don't stop. I'm loving it. I keep waiting for the marching band to play the national anthem. Let's get this thing going.
There's a special reason why we've got Dan here. You folks remember that game show on TV, To Tell the Truth? That was television's version of Liar's Poker. Well, we've borrowed from that format to illustrate the point that the unknown warriors of the NFL and the foot soldiers who slug it out on the offensive line, and we assigned Dan Deerdorf to conduct the experiment on the theory that it takes one to know one. Now, the challenge is to figure out who is the real Keith Dorney, the veteran offensive tackle for the Detroit Lions. Here are the contestants.
My name is Keith Dorney.
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 You might not guess which one is the real Keith Dorney, but you should know Keith Dorney is one tough offensive lineman. This Pro Bowler leads the line in opening holes for a backfield that doesn't include Billy Sims. But as is the case with other offensive linemen, no one knows who he is or what he looks like. So look again at the Lions' offensive line. I'm going to give you a few minutes to decide is the real Keith Dorney number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, or number 5. Jerry Kramer's block that led the Packers to an NFL title is probably the most famous play an offensive lineman ever made. It's also the only one people remember. The media and its star system rarely pays attention to offensive linemen. Even NFL Films focuses on the glamour boys. I mean, look how they dote on quarterbacks.
Red right, power 49 near Geo. It's on 2. It's on 2. Ready? Break.
As for running backs, they also received the royal treatment.
He was a power runner. But in the end, his power was beautiful to watch.
But I was made out to be some sort of brute.
But we're not really like that. Offensive linemen are kind, warm, sensitive, caring human beings.
What about Conrad Dobler?
People often called Conrad a dirty player, and they were right. But I know that behind that gruff exterior of my old teammate lied a gruff interior.
My style of play was always called victim-precipitated violence. The victim usually asked for it. I'd had nightmares dreaming that I was going to line up one day on the field and look across from me, and there was going to be Conrad Dobler lined up against me. And that wouldn't have been my idea of a fun afternoon.
Unless an offensive lineman plays or talks like Conrad, it's hard to get noticed. Even statistics work against us. Football has a stat for every player and circumstance, except offensive line play.
Here's my bubblegum card. 13 years in the National Football League, 6 Pro Bowls, and what's my stat on the back? Dan wears size 15 shoes.
It seems the only time we get noticed is when we mess up.
Holding, number 65 on the offense.
Holding, number 71, offense.
Holding, number 74, offense.
Enough with the insults. It's time to discover how well you know your offensive lineman. Will the real Keith Dorney please stand up?
Sit down, man. Keith, how's it feel? You're finally on TV.
Just great.
Excuse me. A messenger just dropped this NFL pension check off for Dan Deerdorf. Which one of you is Dan Deerdorf?
Oh, that's me right here. I'll take that. No, me right here.
I'll bet you got away with murder playing next to Dobler. The officials never paid any attention to you.
Conrad may have coined a new catchphrase, victim-precipitated violence. I love it. They asked for it.
Wait till the defensive lineman gets hold of that.
They can't do anything to me anymore. I'm clean.
Nice to have you with us today, Dan. Coming up next now in the NFL today, we're going to take a look at Jimmy the Greek's selections. He was red hot last week, gave us San Francisco. Let's see what gifts he's got coming up next. All right, enough of last week. What are you going to do for me lately? How about Chicago Green Bay, Jimmy?
What about Chicago Green Bay? The Bears got the offense, they've got the defense, they've got the special teams. Green Bay is hurt.
They're angry now.
I don't care how angry they are, and Zorn's going to play quarterback, and this guy can get lost in a huddle.
So you really like the Bears. What's the intangible part of this Bear?
The ego of the Bears. They want to win them all.
All right, now, Detroit, Minnesota. Now, how do you figure this Lion team out, Jimmy? They go home and beat the Super Bowl team.
Is it possible that I could delete Detroit from my choices? I haven't been right with them yet. I'll tell you one thing. They are a giant killer. There's no question about it. They beat Miami, San Francisco, and Dallas at home. But on the road, they play like a bunch of little kittens.
You're right, girls. You said once you got a lot of trouble with it.
I know I did.
So you like Bud Grant today a little bit?
I have to go with Minnesota because on the road, Detroit does not play well. By the way, more people on the injured reserve list for Detroit. I don't know how this coach does it.
All right. Tampa Bay comes in looking for its first win. Do they have a chance against the Giants?
Man, they're going to go away looking for their first win. I tell you, their linebacker situation is absolutely atrocious. In fact, they even had to pick up one that Minnesota let go. Although they're going to play today, even though they're playing hurt, they lost Green. There is no way the Giants can lose this game. The defense will score 3 touchdowns, okay?
All right, Jimmy. Now let's see if you've got some gifts for us on this Sunday afternoon. Oh, look at this. Cleveland you like. They're an underdog. Kansas City and New England.
All 3 are underdogs.
Now, what about Monday night, Jimmy? Dallas, I believe St. Louis playing for its life this season. I mean, they've got to win this game against the Cowboys.
Brett, the Cardinals have already lost their life. They're just playing it out now. Forget it. Don't forget, no Green, a rookie at right tackle, and the players are fighting with each other.
All right, now the rest of it, according to Jimmy the Greek, Washington, Cincinnati, the Rams, and the 49ers, and Denver, the Raiders, and the Jets. Jimmy, you want to make a comment on
You're right. I like Denver over San Diego, but that Atlanta game is tough. Riggins ain't playing.
All right. Jimmy, when we come back, Eric Dickerson and Dan Marino are going to be the subject of Irv Cross's story, looking at a couple of players who missed training camp. How did it affect their performances? We're about to find out when we continue in just a moment.
A great concert pianist once revealed that if he missed one day of practice, only he would notice the difference. If he skipped two, the critics would notice. In 3 days, then even the public would be aware of the flaws in his performance. This season in the NFL, two of the game's most gifted performers have reason to appreciate the harsh truth in those words of wisdom. A year ago, they were the game's brightest stars. Eric Dickerson, the man with the $1 million legs, and Dan Marino, the man with the golden arm. They lit up both coasts, set incredible records, then held out for more gold. And more than just their image has been tarnished this year.
In some instances, I could have played much better than I have. But I think overall, as a team, we've been playing pretty well, but I think we've been struggling not putting points on the board like we did last year.
Anytime that you miss that much film study, that much practice on the field, it's going to hurt you.
Eric Dickerson is struggling too. He held out for the first 2 games of the season and hasn't gained 100 yards in his last 5 outings. And this week, he wouldn't talk to the media, so he talked to John Robinson.
Well, he's human. I mean, I don't think. I mean, how can a person not be affected by both the fact that you're not having success and then everybody's kind of pointing a finger at you, saying, "What's wrong?" Sure, you're wounded a little bit.
Dickerson's problems run deep. The hamstring he initially pulled in his second game back still bothers him.
Eric Dickerson is down. Oh, my.
Hamstring injuries are not uncommon after long layoffs like the one Eric experienced during his holdout. And that new contract he sought is still unresolved. Hard to believe, only a year ago, he was on top of the world, even granting interviews.
I know one thing, it's a God-given talent the way I run the football. But sometimes I look at film and it's like, man, I did that. You know, I kind of amaze myself at some of the things I do.
Dan Marino hasn't been as electrifying this year, primarily because deep threat Mark Duper broke his leg in the opener. So opponents are now doubling up Miami's other great speedster, Mark Clayton.
It's tough for us to get big plays. We just have to take our time, and the defenses are kind of saying, well, if you can score and take 10 or 11 or 12 plays to score and don't make no mistakes, then you deserve to score.
You got to be a little more patient, I guess. Huh?
Yeah, that's tough for me to do sometimes.
But to some, Marino hasn't played like, well, Marino since the Super Bowl blowout. Critics contend that game took the wind out of his sails.
As far as the Super Bowl is concerned, I think it was a disappointment for everybody on our team. I think we felt we had a good enough team to win, but that day we just didn't play very well. I think I didn't play very well.
While virtually no one expected Dickerson and Marino to scale the record heights of a year ago, anything less than another rushing title and Super Bowl berth will be viewed as failure. Failure rooted in their holdouts of last summer.
Dan, how important is training camp for a player and the fact that both of them missed it?
I have to say, when I was a player, I could say to myself, oh, I don't really need it. But the more you separate yourself from the game, you really have to do it. Maybe not the full 6 weeks, but at least 3 or 4.
Irv, what about the contract problem? Dickerson wants to be paid as much as Marcus Allen of the Raiders.
Well, you know, Brent, I want to make a distinction between these two cases because Marino's contract settled. He's having a decent year. He's had some problems mechanically with his ball club. But Dickerson is going through some real severe emotional problems right now, I think. He hasn't had his contract resolved. He has a hamstring injury he hasn't come back from fully yet. And the Rams are beginning to wonder if he can really do it again. He's only averaging 3.5 yards a carry.
Okay, and the NFL Today will continue on CBS in just a moment. Eagles against the San Francisco 49ers, and Irv, that Eagle defense should be ready.
Ready indeed. Watch them in long yardage situations to go with 8 defensive backs to confuse Kavanaugh.
Now,
dreaming.
Now, coming up at halftime, of course, we will take a closer look at that Eagle defense, and Irv will tell you what the keys are. We hope you've enjoyed the NFL Today on CBS. So long, everybody.
I think we have to control James Wilder. I think he is one of the most dynamic football players in the National Football League and probably the singularly most underrated player in the league. And he can do an awful lot of damage running in deceiving if you don't control him. So he's a key guy.
Well, the big thing we need to do to turn things around here for the Bucs is, I think it's obvious, we need to get a win under our belts. We're beginning to press, and we are somewhat beat up. We've got some things going against us as far as personnel is concerned, but it's not anything that a win wouldn't help correct, and I think that's the important thing for us right now is continue to work, continue to strive, and keep our working type attitude, and knowing that a win's going to come one of these days, and when it does, we'll be over that hump.
Well, I'm aware of the fact that we could lose to Tampa Bay, and I think so of our players. There isn't any question that if we don't do enough to win, that we won't.
CBS Sports presents the National Football League. Today, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the New York Giants.
Live at Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, winless 0-8, against the Giants, who are 5-3 and chasing Dallas in the NFC East. Good afternoon. I'm Pat Summerall here with John Madden. 0-8. That record is haunting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're Lehman Bennett. Of course, John Madden was never in a situation like that as a coach. But how does Lehman Bennett, as the director of the Buccaneers, approach this record?
You know, the toughest thing he has to do, Pat, is just to keep his confidence. I mean, the confidence that he has in himself, the confidence that he has in his coaching staff, the confidence he has in the offensive and defensive schemes that he's doing, and, of course, the confidence in his players. Because at some point you come and you say, look, I've had confidence in these things, the offense, the defense, the players, all that, but that hasn't worked. Now, how do we get it to work on this 9th week? And at some point, you hope you don't panic, not believe in what you're doing, and start changing things, because then, you know, you've been on a downhill slide, but that's when things really come apart.
John, on the other side of the coin, now you're Bill Parcells. You know the Buccaneers have talent. You know they're going to win sometime. How do you approach as Giants coach?
Very scared. I know that Bill Parcells is scared right now. In fact, he said yesterday, he said, the game that I'm worried about most is today's game against Tampa Bay. He said, next week we play the Redskins. I don't worry about that one. He said, these guys are going to be ready for the Redskins. And I remember that feeling. I remember years ago when we played Tampa Bay, they hadn't won a game. And you know, these guys aren't going to lose every game forever. They're going to win sometime, and you just hope that it's not you.
The Giants will receive. They have George Adams back deep, and Donald Igwe-Buike will kick off for the Buccaneers. I'm glad we got that one out of the way early. He has a reputation of being able to drill that ball into the end zone. Very strong leg. Adams will have a shot, however, this one at the 2-yard line. And he brings it behind the wedge. Adams out of the pack to about the 27. Good return. It almost looked like it might develop into something more. Mark White was down to make the stop. A brisk, cool day. 47 degrees the temperature at game time. They had talked about rain, but that doesn't exist. Sims, the quarterback. Morrison Carpenter, the runners. Bobby Johnson and Lionel Manuel, the wide receivers. And those are the people up front. Sims to work. Tomorrow. Outside the 35, about the 36, Chris Washington made the stop. The Buccaneers defense. Cannon and Holmes, the defensive end, and Dave Logan, born to be a nose tackle in the middle. Keith Browner, Davis, Brantley, Washington, the linebackers. And in the secondary, Castile, Hope, Greenwood, and Ivory Sully obtained from the Rams. 2nd and 3. This is Byron Williams on the move. And they get to Morris. Morris will have a first down or close to it. Someone appeared from nowhere, Craig Curry, to cut him down. It might be a first down, and it might not be. I might have been a little premature.
I think they're going to be a little short here of the first down, and the Giants are bringing in their short yardage offense now. Their backup center, Conrad Goody, he comes in and plays at tight end. I'm sure that Maurice Carthon will be in there, and he'll be the lead blocker.
It is Carthon and Andrews. Morris to Carthen. The penalty flag is down. Carthen got the yards necessary for the first down. The referee, by the way, is Dick Jorgensen. Penalty apparently would be against the Buccaneers, so the Giants will have the first down either way.
Offside, number 78, defense, first down.
John Cannon, the defensive end, was the man who got into that neutral zone.
You know, at short yardage, you're all up in there tight and trying to stay low and take off when the ball snaps. Sometimes they get a little too tight.
It's Morris and Carpenter back as the runners, and it's the fake to Morris, and Sims gets it out to Carpenter. A gain of about 4. Craig Curry and Keith Browner up to make the stop.
You know, it's funny, Pat, as we look at Carpenter going back to the huddle here. Last week against the Saints, every time the Giants were going to pass, they had Carpenter at fullback. Every time they ran, they had Carthon at fullback. So I think they're going to try and go against that somewhat today, but if this were true, this should be a run.
Morris and Carthon are the two runners. That's Manuel in motion. The give is to Morris, and they do run, and Morris is hammered. A loss of about 3. Keith Browner.
I'll tell you, Browner did a heck of a job at taking on Carthon and making the tackle. Watching the upper right-hand side of the screen. See him take on the block, straighten up Carthon, and play off into Joe Morris. Now that is the way you play that bob block.
Not many people straighten up Maurice Carthon like that, like Keith Browner did.
Hey, he really, that's the way you play it. Take him on, straighten it up, get off him, and make the tackle. And it was for a loss.
3rd and 8 now. From the 45. Sims out of the spread. Looking deep and going that direction to Adams. First down. Deep in Buccaneer territory inside the 25. Chris Washington brought him down. A gain of 31 yards and a Giant first down.
You know, each week that we watch George Adams, we can see him improving, you know, and getting confidence. I think when he got that first touchdown, I think he's a changed guy. But now we see him, you know, running here a pattern. Phil Simms having confidence in him. And, of course, when you can get him on a linebacker, man-to-man, as they did then, deep, that's the guy you want to go to.
Perfect throw from Simms. Here's Morris cutting back up the middle. Inside the 20, about the 19. Curry again on the stop. Keith Browner with an assist.
I'm sure that Bill Parcells didn't talk to Morris about how many times he was going to carry the ball. Last week, he said he told him, you're going to run the first play. I need 6 yards on a sweep. He said Morris got so excited, he got 9 yards and then hyperventilated.
That happened a couple of times in New Orleans. Morris is the deep back in the eye now. And again, he gets the carry. He gets the first down inside the 15, about the 13. Scott Brantley and Craig Curry, who's made just about every tackle so far, brought him down.
You know, who would have thought if you said before the season at the halfway point, Joe Morris, the halfback of the New York Giants, is going to gain more yards than Eric Dickerson.
And be up among the leaders in the NFC. Bobby Johnson is split out wide to the left. Manuel to the right. Sims again works Morris. Morris cuts back Curry. Misses him at about the 8. Morris stays on his feet to the 5. Jeremiah Castile finally got him down.
I'll tell you, that was a heck of a cut. That was from one side of the offensive line all the way to the other. Watch this. He's going to go outside left. He stops there and cuts all the way back to outside right. That was some cut. That's one of those type that an Eric Dickerson makes, where you start one way and then end up the other side.
A strong run finished off at the end, too. 2nd and 3 at the 6. In the backfield, Morris by Dave Logan. That play didn't get started just exactly right.
Well, you know, Phil Simms on the line of scrimmage was in some type of audible. I heard him say weak safety, weak safety. So I'm sure that changed the blocking combination and took him longer. Of course, I'm sure that everyone is a little nervous here. Watch this here. He's talking about the weak safety. He looked like maybe the ball was snapped a little early or he wasn't ready for it. Of course, we know the Giants have had trouble in this area.
3rd down and 3. Curry. And they'll have to settle for a field goal. And we'll have our first look at the new place kicker, Eric Schubert.
Here's a guy who was substitute teaching and coaching a high school football team here in New Jersey last week.
That's his record, excuse me, John, in the USFL when he played with the Maulers. He had a tryout briefly with the Giants and with New England. And he'll try here from 24 yards away. Good. Rutledge had a little trouble with the snap and didn't get the ball turned around, so Schubert had to kick the strings, but he still got it through. Pat Summerall and John Madden. The Giants lead it 3-0. Eric Schubert is number 3. Set to kick off, and this is one of the reasons he was brought back, because he does have a very strong leg, and as a rule does get the ball into the end zone. He tees it up funny.
Well, those guys that kick it from the side do a lot of funny things with it.
Line drive doesn't really get airborne. It's handled by Phil Freeman. And the Buccaneer return man gets it out to about the 34. Lawrence Taylor on the kick coverage team makes the stop. And the Bucs have it in pretty good shape, trailing 3-0. DeBerg is the quarterback. James Wilder is the lone setback. They use 2 tight ends, Jerry Bell and Jimmy Giles. Kevin House and Gerald Carter are the wide receivers. Giles, I mentioned before. It's Heller, Mallory, Grimes, Steve Corson, and Sean Farrell at left tackle. A strange position for him. And he'll face a challenge against Leonard Marshall. DeBerg to Wilder. Wilder to about the 40. Knocked out of bounds by Kenny Hill. The Giant defense, the number 1 in the NFL. McGriff and Marshall, the ends, and Burt, the nose tackle. No better group of linebackers, Byron Hunt, Reasons, Carson, and Lawrence Taylor. And in the secondary, Patterson, Williams, Hill, and Kennard. And by the way, Mark Haynes, who was activated, will not see action today because of a pulled hamstring. DeBerg to Wilder. Wilder, who is a real load, gets a Buccaneer first down before Terry Kennard can get him down.
You know, James Wilder was saying last night he wasn't even sure if he could play. He injured his ankle last week against the Patriots and didn't practice much this week and was worried about it last night. I think he was as much worried about his ankle as he was playing with his ankle on artificial turf.
He is big.
But if it were grass, it would be a little easier.
Bell in motion. They give on the counter play to Wilder, who is met by Carson. And that's a stalemate. James Wilder is almost as big as Harry Carson.
I'll tell you, that's the impressive thing about Wilder. You know, he's in a one-back situation here. He's both the tailback and a fullback, but he's really a fullback type of guy. He was saying last night, you know, as he said, when I run the ball, he said, I want to put a lick on them. He said, I know they're going to put a lick on me. And he said, I'll guarantee it doesn't hurt as much if you're putting a lick on when they put the lick on.
He's one of the few runners around who does that. DeBerg back to throw. Under pressure. Gets it out quickly to Kevin House. And House gets to the Giant 40. Harry Williams.
This is the thing that DeBerg was worried about last night, is the pressure he was getting. Here you see House was going to run an inside pattern. There was a linebacker in there, so he just stopped and came back to the outside. That was a zone defense. They were way off. Now here's the pressure that Steve DeBerg was talking about. There's Leonard Marshall working on Sean Farrell, and DeBerg had to get rid of the ball just when he did.
A gain of 14 and the Tampa Bay first down. DeBerg back to throw again. Out to Wilder, who can't quite find the handle. DeBerg was a little high.
Steve DeBerg said, you know, he said, I saw a couple weeks ago when you were talking about Lawrence Taylor. He said that he hadn't been playing well, and then Taylor said he was going to play the best game of his life. And DeBerg thought, why didn't he just keep playing poorly until after we finished playing him? He said he didn't say that to you yesterday, did he?
He was trying to throw the ball in the upper deck after practice yesterday and did it a couple of times. This is Wilder looking for some running room and finding a little bit. Down to about the Giant 35 before George Martin gets him down. This is something that the Buccaneers do a little differently. They get into a long yardage situation and they will run Wilder.
Well, that's the confidence that they have in him. He's the type of guy that you don't have to just run in a running situation. Sometimes his running is as good as a pass, and that's what Bill Parcells said he's worried about. The nickel package, which the Giants are in now, but being able to stop Wilder running when you got all those defensive backs in there and the linebackers out.
3rd down and 6. The Bucs go with 3 wide receivers. Theo Bell has replaced Jerry Bell. DeBerg intended for Giles down the middle. No flag, no penalty. And the Bucs will try a field goal with Igwe Donald. This is going to be a long one.
I tell you, Herb Welsh did a nice job on that play of cutting off Jimmy Giles. He just got in front of him and cut him off so he couldn't get to the ball.
Igwe from 53 yards out. Good hold. Line drive kick is far enough and good. That is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer record from 53 yards out. Igwe ties the score at 3. We're still in the first quarter. Yard field goal. Risher, the holder. Watch what a run he gets at it, like John was saying, and look how far his left foot gets in front of the ball.
I'll tell you, it's only 3 steps, but those are 3 long steps. And look at that right foot. That's hitting like a driver. I mean, he had that right foot all the way back up, and then he had his head down and really went through that thing.
He bent the shaft a little bit, didn't he?
He let it all out. He aired that one.
Donald Igwe, whose middle name is Amici, which means something like don't worry about tomorrow. Get it done today. And he just got it done. A knuckleball, handled, no. Finally by Adams at about the 10. He has hammered at about the 25. We're talking about Lawrence Taylor trying to throw the ball into the upper deck at Giant Stadium yesterday. He was just having, and the rest of the team was just having a little fun.
Well, you always wonder what guys do before the game. The day before the game in practice, Lawrence Taylor always has contests to see how far he can do things. That one there, he was trying to throw in the 3rd deck. He said, I put too much line drive on that one. But he's the guy who enjoys the game. He has fun. I mean, he throws it, kicks it, catches it, sings, dances, whatever.
Runs with it. Sends back to throw and gets it outside. Bobby Johnson. Gain of 12, and they'll move the sticks.
I tell you, Bobby Johnson does a heck of a job right at the end of this thing of waiting for the ball and keeping both feet in bounds. See how he has to wait, and still keep both feet. He had that little tap with the left foot.
Just barely.
Sometimes you wonder, did he have the ball before those feet went out?
First down Giants, their own 37. 5:44 left first quarter. That was Bavaro in motion. This is Morris. Hit in the backfield, spins around. Ron Holmes was the first man to make contact. Washington and Atlanta in the first quarter tied at 3. Luckhurst and Mosley swap field goals. Miami 7, New England nothing. Detroit 3, Minnesota nothing. Eddie Murray, a field goal. And Green Bay over the Bears. Al Del Greco has put the Pack ahead. 2nd and 12 as Morris lost 2. The Giants operate from their own 35 in a passing situation. Sims has the pocket collapse. Gets out of trouble for momentarily to Morris and over his head. And Morris is hammered by John Hope. For an NFL update, Let's take you back to our New York studio and Brent Musburger.
Well, Pat, the Packers and the Bears are really going at it. They've had a couple of fights already. One player's been kicked out. Watch what happens here. Walter Payton on the sweep. Mark Lee, the corner, makes contact. Payton doesn't let go. So Lee takes him on over the bench. The flag is thrown, and Lee is ejected from the game. And the Bears trail it back to Pat Summerall.
Looks like they might be serious.
They've had a lot to think about in those last couple of weeks.
They really have. On third down, Sims gets it down the middle to Tony Galbraith. And he is stopped just shy of the first down by Chris Washington. Phil Sims was limping, not that last play, but the play previously. Let's see what happened.
Well, it looked like he got his leg locked right there at the end. You see, he kind of gets kicked in the right leg, and then it looked like the knee lock. And he was trying to straighten that thing out. Maybe it was his left knee.
Landetta. Line drive kick, bounces away from the Buccaneers safety man. Finally goes out of bounds on the far side of the field, and the Bucs will take over at about their own 18. But there's the flag down on the play, way back upfield. You refuse this. Looks like it's against the Giants. I think you refuse this, don't you, John?
Ineligible downfield, number 57, punting team, decline. First down.
You never had a chance to answer.
Well, we're sure that they're going to now, but as you say, I think when you get the ball on the 19 or 20-yard line to start with, you're happy with that one.
4:19 left to play first quarter. It's 3-3 at Giant Stadium. The Buccaneers and the Giants, first quarter with 4:19 left to play. James Wilder, the lone setback. Steve DeBerg, the quarterback, with Bell in motion, and this is Wilder. And Wilder hammers for about 4 or 5, perhaps. There is the Bucs offensive coordinator, Jimmy Ray, on crutches.
Well, you know, he was jogging about a month ago and was hit by a car and had a number of injuries, was hospitalized, missed a couple of games. Now he's back on the sideline. He's the offensive coordinator calling the plays. For a couple of weeks here, the head coach, Lehman Bennett, called the plays.
Second down from the 23. They again give to Wilder. Wilder hammers left side. Leonard Marshall. Jim Burt first there. Wilder got a few yards, but not enough for a first down.
You know, one of the things we talk about Leonard Marshall here, and we see him play off Sean Farrell, then play off the guard, and then make the tackle on James Wilder. That's one place that Leonard Marshall has really improved. You know, you get all the talk about how many sacks he has, and he's a leading sacker in the NFL. But to be a complete and good defensive end, you have to play the run as well as the pass. And he's really improved in that area.
That's what he said he wants to do, be the complete player. Third down. They need 3. They give again to Wilder. No, this is not Wilder. That's Adger Armstrong, and he got enough for a first down. This is the 10th anniversary. You see that emblem on the shoulder pad of Adger Armstrong. This is the 10th anniversary of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There have been some high periods, but this is one of the low periods right now. Here's what they've done in their 10-year history. Started off 0-14. In 79, they went 10-6. In 81, they went 9-7. So there have been some happy times, but not 1985. They're 0-8. DeBerg, outside Wilder, who makes the catch, and Wilder down the sideline, almost to midfield before he's chased down by Harry Carson.
You know, an interesting thing about James Wilder, you know, some coaches talk about the right hand to have the ball in and the wrong hand, and supposedly you always keep it to the sideline. James Wilder always carries the ball in his left hand. And the reason is he wants to be able to deliver a blow with that right hand, arm, and shoulder. He's like a linebacker. You know, those guys that step and go, boom, pop. He always wants that right arm free that he can hit the hitter.
He delivers in more ways than one. It's Wilder again, and Wilder hammers Buccaneers for about 5 into Giant territory to about their 47. Gary Reasons on the stop. You know, watching the Buccaneers in films as we were yesterday, John, and watching them now in the first quarter here, they don't look like an 0-8 team.
Well, they don't. That first drive that they had last week against the Patriots was a beautiful thing, and then they start off 14-0, and then somewhere along the way, they just self-destruct. Steve DeBerg has thrown for more touchdowns than anyone in the NFC. He also has thrown more interceptions.
Wilder looking for a place to go, can't find it. He's hammered by Elvis Patterson, who's the first man to get there, and that Giant defensive unit swarms all over James Wilder. He puts them into a passing situation right now.
Hey, you talk about guys that have come along and gotten bigger. There's Elvis Patterson. You know, he started, and the first they said, well, Mark Haynes is out. We're going to start Elvis Patterson, and, you know, nicknamed Toast and all that stuff. And now you can just see his confidence. I mean, he looks like a bigger guy. I mean, he struts now. He struts around practice, man. He owns part of this deal.
3rd and 7. Adger Armstrong is the back behind DeBerg, replacing Wilder. They go with 3 wide receivers. Berg is back to throw. Here comes Marshall. They get it to Adger Armstrong, but he is hit well short of the first down by Lawrence Taylor.
I think that was one of the things that Steve DeBerg had to get rid of the ball because Leonard Marshall is coming. Watch Marshall. He works. Now he loops around there. He's coming right now. Now DeBerg didn't want to throw to the short guy, Adger Armstrong, but if he didn't, he was going to take a sack there. He had to do that.
Frank Garcia is number 5, punting for the Buccaneers. Phil McConkey for the Giants, standing back at his own 10.
Of talking down there. You see him, that's the end of the quarter. It's not too much time, but they were talking, load left, load left.
A lot of strolling around, maybe to help Garcia with the wind direction. It's 3-3 at the end of 1. At Stadium, Pat Summerall, John Madden, Frank Garcia about to punt for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Back deep for the Giants, Phil McConkey. The Bucs taking their time and making sure, they hope, that everybody is accounted for. Giants continue to jump around. Low snap. Garcia gets it away. McConkey watches it go over his head and roll into the end zone. They'll bring it back to the 20. Punt of 46 yards. Bill Parcells looking on the Giants sideline. Has his team at 5-3. And looking at what might happen to the Dallas-St. Louis game tomorrow night. They win today and Dallas loses, they'd be in a tie for first. Buffalo 7, Cincinnati nothing. Greg Bell. Cleveland 3-0 over Pittsburgh. Matt Barr, a 34-yard field goal. Sims on first down. Lionel Manuel. And that'll be another first down. John Hope made the stop. Look at that Buccaneer defense, John. And the 2 inside linebackers play about 5 or 6 yards deep. Much deeper, I think, than anybody else in the NFL.
You know, the reason they do that is they want to get back there so that they have room. If they get a fake of a play pass, in other words, if they fake a run and throw, that they can come up and still get back and not get caught up in the line of scrimmage.
Sims back to throw again. Oh! Phil Sims and the Giants are fortunate. Jeremiah Castile had that ball hit him right in the stomach, and he had a touchdown in front of it. That looked like it slipped out of Sims' hand.
Jeremiah Castile is the best of the defensive backs of the Buccaneers. He is a good corner, and you can see why there. He really got to jump. He read that pattern, and instead of going to guard his man, he said, I'm going to cut off and get in front of this thing. Sims throws the ball here. You see that he had to take a little off it because he had a rush right in front of him by John Cannon.
Draw play to Carpenter, who breaks 1 tackle. Chris Washington makes the stop. Carpenter got away from the first man, who was Jeff Davis. and got back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 10 from the 33.
You know, this area is one of the areas that Giant coaches were really disturbed with last week's performance and with Phil Simms. They said that last week in this situation, they had 7 times against the nickel and they only completed 1 pass. So we have to get better in this area.
Simms out of the spread. One-handed snag. Here comes the blitz, and down goes Simms. John Cannon and Chris Washington converge to sack Phil Simms, the first of the day.
I tell you, they didn't do any better than that because Carl Nelson, it looks like, doesn't get Cannon blocked coming from the outside there. He just runs right by. In fact, it wasn't Nelson, it was Chris Godfrey that was trying to block him. He couldn't get to him, and he was right back on Phil Simms.
Looks like Carl Nelson might have missed a snap count, John. He was still in his stance when they snapped the ball. Landetta in to kick for the Giants, and back deep, Mike Pryor.
This one should be against the Giants. It's a tough one. Now, they say that the Tampa Bay guy drew him off because he stepped in there, and the Giant guy goes to touch him.
5 yards.
He encroached.
That's the way it should be, because watch the Tampa Bay guy from the right there in the middle of the screen. See, he steps in, he makes Andy Hedden touch him. Now, a lot of times they'll call that against the offense, but I think that's a proper call. The defensive guy caused that.
Landetta gets off a good one. Pryor. Here's that signal. And the Buccaneers take over at their own 31. Hang time of 4.2, a punt of 44 yards. 13:06 left to play in the first half with the score tied 3-3.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Today's Chevrolet, who invite you to live the style, performance, and fun of Chevrolet in '86. Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. And by the U.S. Army, a place to be all you can be.
A brisk, cool day at Giant Stadium, which, as usual is sold out. We're tied at 3-3. DeBerg back to throw from his own 32. Pass intended for Jimmy Giles, incomplete. DeBerg got it in there. Giles really never had it, so it's an incomplete pass. Now for an NFL scoring update. Back to New York, and here's Brent Musburg.
Well, Pat, the story with the Washington Redskins is John Riggins is not playing because of an injury. Watch here how George Rogers takes off. Bolts inside the 10. This set up a touchdown. Redskins 10, Atlanta 3. Let's go back to Pat and John.
Nice to have a backup like George Rogers, isn't it?
It's a dynamic duo, huh?
I wish I had said that.
Dynamic duo.
2nd and 10. Giles jumps.
Giles may still be groggy from that hit that he took from Elvis Patterson on that incomplete pass. I tell you, sometimes that does tend to shake a guy up. You know, you get a hit like that.
Number 88, offense, simulating the start of a play. Still 2nd down.
That's serious. Simulating.
Poor old Giles. He gets hit on the incomplete pass, and then the official catch him for simulating. Look at him. He knows it. He said, "I know I shouldn't simulate. My coaches told me I shouldn't simulate. I try not to simulate, but Patterson just hit me in the head the play before on an incomplete pass. What's a guy have to do?"
That makes you want to simulate.
Should have stood in bed.
2nd down. 15 from the 27. DeBerg gives to Wilder. Left side. And Wilder hammers out to about the 33. Jim Burt in pursuit. Cut him down.
You know, I like the way Wilder runs. I mean, you know, the ball in the left hand and that right arm and right shoulder and all, always there to be the ready, you know, to get the weapon, to get the hit on the guy. You know, they got all these little fancy runners that dance around on artificial turf and dome stadiums and stuff. Good to see a big guy, big shoulders, man. I'm going to hit those guys. There's no place that says I have to take all the hits.
When he puts on number 32, he doesn't do any dancing. Like you said yesterday, he's the kind of back you would have liked to have had.
Would love to have had James Wilder.
Andrew Armstrong has replaced it. Here comes Taylor. Here's DeBerg for Giles. Had it and recaptured it. And out of bounds, chased by Terry Kennard. A juggling catch by James Wilder and a gain of 31.
Hey, that's the thing. I think what happened, I think they expected, and let's watch in the chalkboard here. We'll see Giles is going to come from here. He runs deep in the corner. The outside guy goes out short, keeps that zone here so that he can get in behind in this deeper zone. Now watch what happens as he starts here. He starts inside. Now if we can just stop it there, you see here's the corner coming up here. That gives all this room out here for Giles, and he just comes right into it. See, the corners come up with the short out, and he's able to get Giles in behind on that zone.
Lawrence Taylor is out of the game and apparently hurting. Andy Hedden has replaced him. That was Jerry Bell in motion. Here is Wilder. Wilder down to about the 25-yard line. Leonard Marshall was also shaken up on that previous play, the Giles completion, and he's out of the game.
I'll tell you, that's the right side of the Giant defense. That's the side of the defense that raises all the havoc on this team, and to lose their top two defensive players on one play. Whew.
That's Marshall, and that's Taylor. Bill Sims loosening up. Lawrence down off the bench, sitting on the turf now.
I'll tell you, that's a lot of sacks on that sideline.
Wow. E. Hardison has replaced Marshall, and Hedden has replaced Lawrence Taylor. DeBerg for Giles, touchdown. What an adjustment by Giles. He looked outside, the ball came inside, and he made the adjustment.
I think the Buccaneers have found something here, Pat. That's the second play. The first one got him down there, the first one to Giles, and the second one here gets him in the end zone. Steve DeBerg is just playing catch on this drive with Jimmy Giles. See here, pretty good pass protection. He starts to the outside, goes back to the inside, and catches it over Terry Kennard's head.
Ooh. One of the comments Lehman Bennett had about Jimmy Giles last night when we talked with him was he is some athlete, a fine athlete. Igwe Buike adds the extra point. Jimmy Giles scored the touchdown, and the Buccaneers lead 10, the Giants 3. The scoring drive, 5 plays, 69 yards. They kept it 1 minute and 39 seconds. It was a game of catch between DeBerg and Giles, and Taylor, Lawrence Taylor, injured his ankle at some point. Igwe Buike's kick goes to Adams. Adams out of the pack. Flag is down at about the 35-yard line. And another one about the 20-yard line. Mark White finally made the stop, number 85. 36-yard return by Adams.
You don't know what the penalty is, but when you see it on a kick return, it's usually against the return team. One of those things blocking from behind, holding, or clipping. Oh, that's a double dipper. They got them both. They got 2 holdings on that. That's a good alert call. You know, they'll get like stars tomorrow. You know, like this staff, they had on one play, they got 2 holdings.
The officiating staff, you mean?
Oh, yeah. That's a bargain of the week.
2 holding fouls on the kicking team.
Wow.
Number 51, declined. Number 78, accepted. First down.
You only get to accept 1.
Yeah, and if you're 51, you're happy, and if you're 78, you get paranoid.
First down, Giants, their own 11-yard line. Nothing doing there. George Adams, the ball carrier.
Let's watch that touchdown again, Pat, and we'll see it's the same pattern. Here's Jimmy Giles again. He's going to run the corner. The outside receiver here runs short, brings the corner up here, and Giles can get in behind. Now, Terry Kennard has to come from over here to cover him. Watch that. They start with a motion. Kenny Hill starts outside. Kennard comes over. There we got the corner. You see, when he comes up, then they have that big hole out there.
Sims down the middle, incomplete. Intended for Bobby Johnson. The word, John, on Lawrence Taylor is that he has a bruised knee. There he is on the bench. But not anything torn or anything like that, and he should be able to return. Sims is 6 out of 9.
I'll tell you, they need Lawrence Taylor and Leonard Marshall back because these Buccaneers in this first half are taking it to them. So far, they're winning it in every area.
Third down and 6. Giants operating from their own 15. Bart Oates signaling out to his linebacker saying, whoa, wait a minute. Now, they ought to get another star for that one because every official on the field threw a flag.
Yeah, that's good. That's when you're really sure they see something. They all throw it then.
Offense, still third down.
That looked like the May Day celebration.
Poor old Carl Nelson's having a tough time today. He's been playing so well in the last month. But today he had that one where John Cannon got the sack. He looked like he got off a little late. Then he had a false start there.
Total disaster. Tony Galbraith in the backfield with Sims as he operates out of the spread. 3rd and 11. Giants backed up to their own 10. Sims out of the pocket, looking deep. Has Lionel Manuel. Greg Curry. The word on Leonard Marshall, by the way, is that he was just stunned and is okay and will be back.
Well, usually when they put their helmets back on, that's a good sign. When they put the chin strap on, that's a better sign. That means they're trying everything and it's working. So Marshall's okay. Taylor, I don't know. He's not ready yet. He doesn't have that helmet there. Doesn't have the helmet on.
First down, Giants. Buccaneers throwing blitz as Sims goes. Again to Manuel, who looked back a little too soon. And he got hammered by Jeremiah Castillo.
Yeah, I don't know if Lionel Manuel was going to lateral that ball to George Adams. You know, that old thing, that hook and go? Watch him. He catches the thing here. I guess he wasn't. Adams was coming in there behind, but nah, he just got hit in the back as the ball was in his hands and knocked it out. Looked like that old play where you catch it and you lateral out to the guy outside.
Manuel is split out wide to the right. And McConkey is down to the left at the bottom of your picture. Buccaneers again showing blitz. They get it up the middle to Bavaro. And he can't find the handle. He might have looked upfield a little too early. 10-3 here. The Buccaneers lead the Giants. Kansas City and Houston in the second quarter as well are 0-0. Washington now 17-3. Over Atlanta. Joe Theismann has just scored with an 11-yard run. Keith Griffin scored the other Redskin touchdown. Unusual names for the Redskins to be running in the end zone. 3-3, Detroit and Minnesota. 3rd and 10 here at Giant Stadium. Sims from behind. Dave Logan, the nose tackle. He does it with quickness, not with size.
You know, Dave Logan doesn't weigh much more than 230 pounds. And we'll see him, and that's a stunt. He started as a right tackle. The right end came in, and then he looped around to the outside. And that's what you can do if you have quickness. You start in, still come out, and get to the quarterback.
Second sack by the Bucs as Landeta gets off a good kick to Pryor. No fair catch this time. He got one good block. And Pryor out to about the 43 where the Buccaneers take over. They lead 10-3 with exactly 10 minutes left to play in the first half. John Landeta, who just punted. 10-3 to score. The Buccaneers lead the Giants with exactly 10 minutes left to play in the first half. Bucs have the ball, their own 43. Both Leonard Marshall and Lawrence Taylor are back in on the right side of the Giants defense. Wilder is the lone center. And DeBerg looks to Wilder. He is hit by Perry Williams. He knew he was coming.
I think one thing that these giant corners are doing now that Elvis Patterson is playing and Perry Williams, they really have become hitters. I mean, they're not only cover guys, play their zones and so on, but these two guys are coming up now and doing some cracking.
Here it is again.
Because we saw one earlier where Patterson got Jimmy Giles, and there we see Perry Williams taking on James Wilder. And they know about Wilder, you know, I mean, they're ready for that. They've heard about it all week. Hey, you got to watch out for this guy.
It'll be 2nd and 10. Again, it's Wilder. Stumbles, down he goes. Burt gets up clapping because he knows that Wilder went down as a result of his tripping.
Well, that's the way that you stop a guy like James Wilder. Jim Burt came up with a big play. Watch him here. Now, he's going to come in, and he gets penetration. Wilder's starting here, and it's a counter play. And as he comes back here, boom, right here is where Burt gets him. Watch, it's a counter. Wilder's going to start to the left, come back to the right. Now watch Burt right there, get the penetration right there, knock off Wilder's left foot. He never gets under control and can't get to his blockers.
Adger Armstrong is now the lone setback for the Bucs. The Burt gives to Armstrong. And Jim Burt, Curtis McGriff, and Jerome Salley converge to knock him down.
Well, that was the one that Bill Parcells was worried about, that third and long run where he has all his defensive backs in there and no linebackers. He said, I worry about that, and you can see that that defensive group knew that he was worried about it because they really swarmed old Adger Armstrong.
Frank Garcia back to punt. His only one so far has been a good one. McConkey standing back at about the 15, and he ought to have a chance to operate with this one. Bucks taking a long time. This time Garcia gets a good snap. Giants are trying to block it. They get it away from McConkey, and it goes out of bounds on the far side of the field at about the 21. And so now with 8:36 left to play in the first half, after a 38-yard punt by Garcia, the Buccaneers lead the Giants 10-3. Don't forget, next Sunday, a doubleheader. The Rams will be here to play the Giants. The Rams 7-1. The Giants 5-3. And the Cowboys go to Washington. And that's always been an event. That's where John and I'll be. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. And by the way, George Allen is going to be a guest in the studio next week with Brent Nerve. He, of course, part of that Washington legend. Adams gets over the right side for about 8 before he's stopped by Scott Brentley and Chris Washington.
There's a fired-up guy, George Adams. You see him? He threw the ball down, clapped his hands, got back to the huddle. He said, okay, that's the way to do it, guys. Let's keep doing it now. Keep that stuff going. Get those 8 yards on first down. They say stuff like that.
Ball is at the 29. Now it blows away from Bart Oates. Last week, Adams and Morris both had very good days against the New Orleans Saints. That's Manuel in motion. Sims gives to Maurice Carton. Chris Washington on the tackle. He's close to a first down.
Well, that was one of the things that Bill Parcells said that he wanted to do, is run Carthon a little, because what he'd been doing is just putting Carthon in blocking situations. Of course, then the defense can say, there's Carthon. He's going to block, so everyone would follow him. Parcells is looking. He's hoping that he has a first down, because you don't want to get those short yardage situations too often with this group.
He does. John, how much Maurice Carthon, of course, played in the USFL. That means he's been playing football for, what, like at least a year. Steadily. What kind of an effect does that have?
Well, he's numb by now. I think that earlier, you know, it could have affected him. Now it's been so long that you just get numb and you just get up and do it every week and every practice, and it's no big deal to him now. He's gotten over the hump.
Adams is cut down right at the line of scrimmage. A little bit different look on defense from the Buccaneers. They usually stay with that standard 3-man front, 4 linebackers. That time they made a little tactical change in defense.
I think what they're trying to do is on first down to stop that sweep, because what the Giants have been doing is all their first down runs have been trying to get to the outside. So they're trying to get penetration off that strong corner.
Now they're back in their regular alignment with 3 down linemen. Here's Sims back to throw if he has time, and he does. Phil McConkey hangs on, hit by Jeremiah Castile, a gain of 14, and another Giants first down.
I tell you, Jeremiah Castile is a good cornerback, so McConkey has to run a pretty good pattern here. He was working back a little, and that little adjustment he made at the end was a heck of an adjustment where he turned his shoulders back to the right to catch that thing. That was a tough catch. McConkey made it look easy, though. That's what those guys do when they're out of the Navy a couple years.
No more helicopters. Here comes the blitz. Buccaneers make it work momentarily, but Adams makes it turn into a plus for the Giants. Scott Brantley was the man who finally stopped him. Jeff Davis was the man who had a shot at him in the backfield.
Adams did a heck of a play. Watch this. Here he is right here. He's coming to the inside, and that shows how strong George Adams is, because Jeff Davis had a free shot at him, but he couldn't get him down, and Adams was able to make 5 yards after that.
Second down. Sims going for the bundle. Manuel was the intended receiver. He was out of bounds anyway. Jeremiah Castile back there with him. Lehman Bennett said he felt that the Giants, as all the other teams the Bucs have played, would work on John Hope. But they've left him alone and gone after Castile.
No one told the Giants that. I don't know if they're worrying about the corner, whether it be Castile or Holt, or they're just throwing to their right side. I've always had a feeling that Phil Sims throws better in the middle and to his right than he does to his outside left. So there could be something to that.
Could be. We'll watch it again. He's looking left this time, looking middle. Phil McConkey made the stop. Ivory Sully. Phil McConkey made the catch. Ivory Sully made the stop, but not before McConkey got that first down.
You know, he's a spirited little guy. You know, you need that on your team. You got players that play offense, defense, special teams, whatever, but you need a guy like this who kind of gives you some heart. You know, the guy who's always bouncing around, you know, always running in, running out, clapping hands, shaking hands, all that type of stuff. Teams need players like Phil McConkey.
He has a lot of heart. Adams has got some room. Adams rambles down to inside the 30 before Castile makes the stop. 15-yard gain for Adams.
That was good blocking by the Giants. See, they try and get the penetration inside. They pack everything to the outside, and that gives Adams really a free corner. He makes a good move there on Castile and picks up an extra 3 or 4 yards by it.
Billy Ard knocked Jeff Davis down in the backfield, and Adams was able to get to the outside. Sims with time, a lot of time. Manuel juggled it. Was it a catch?
I think it was. I think he juggled it, but he never dropped it. The ball never hit the ground. Manuel is going to run an in out here. We'll see him coming in the middle here. You see right in there. Now he catches the ball. It hit his shoulder pads. He juggled it all the way down. Oh, that ball did hit the ground.
Yes, it did.
After the Giants got a gift there.
They sure did.
Manuel, for a second guy, hit that pretty well.
First down, Giants. Aaron Williams is the man in motion. Sims is looking for him. Now he looks for Bavaro, and the Bucs knock it away. Chris Washington got the hand in front of Bavaro.
I don't think there was anyone open on that play. It looked like the Buccaneers had Bavaro covered from all directions, inside, outside, front, and back, and Sims tried to zip it in there.
Line of scrimmage is just inside the 12-yard line, where it will be 2nd and 10 from that point. 3.5 minutes left to play first half.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants tried to pop a run here. With this formation, I would be surprised.
With Carpenter back there. Sims back to throw. That's that sprint out again, out of the spread formation. Sims with forever. Over the head of Manuel. could have been caught.
That is. The other thing about that, though, is it was a sprint to the right. Had the Giants had anyone back here on the left side, it would have been a touchdown. Watch what happens. As Sims sprints out here, all the receivers are in this area here. Had they had anyone back in here, it would have been a touchdown. Watch this now. He's going to come here. Everything goes to the right, into the short side of the field. Just we stop it here now. Watch here. All these guys are here. See, and there's no one over to the left side.
Now Sims goes back to throw again. He's chased and finally fires complete to Carpenter. Dave Logan was back there. They're going to say he was in the grass.
He was in the grass, right. And that was one that I heard from here, but the referee did blow the whistle before Phil Sims threw the ball. Now, it's going to be a good argument, but that's the thing. It's not the grass, but it's when the referee blows his whistle. That stops the play. It was some throw by Phil Sims being in the grass, but still being able to complete it. Watch, it's David Logan there. You see, he has him here. Now, you see the referee in the background. He's blowing the whistle, waving his hand. And then after that, Carpenter caught the ball and scored.
Eric Schubert with Jeff Rutledge holding. And Schubert is good from 36 yards out. So with 3 minutes exactly left to play in the first half, it's still Tampa. The Buccaneers 10-6 over the Giants. Bennett, in his first year as the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We talked with him last night, obviously in a, well, not a negative mood, but certainly depressed.
Well, you know what happens. I think the most negative time is after the game and the next day and maybe Tuesday. And by Saturday, whatever emotion you had from the last loss, you should be over. You're looking forward to the next day.
Eric Schubert has accounted for all the Giants scoring with his 2 field goals again. That's sort of a funny tee-up. Lawrence Taylor on the kickoff coverage team way on the right side, the last man on the right. All pro in a lot of departments as Schubert has the ball blow off the tee again.
You know, after that happens a couple of times, the referee will usually bring in a holder. In fact, Lawrence Taylor's coming in to hold it now. Seeing Schubert's telling him how. Now look at that hand. He should hold it with his left hand. See, you don't want to keep that left hand in front of the kicking foot. Lawrence, the other hand. Not the right hand, the left hand.
That's right.
See, because you always hold it with the left so that the left hand doesn't get in front of the ball.
And the elbow bends that way. Schubert really hammers this one way deep and out of the end zone. He's delighted about things.
So is Lawrence Taylor, probably. If I were Schubert, I'd say, let me have that guy every kick, coach. That guy holds as well as anyone.
No matter what hand he uses.
Yeah. All that tape on it.
College football here on CBS next Saturday. The Miami Hurricanes, ranked number 11, maybe moving up against Maryland, live at 3:30 Eastern Time. Who will ever forget that game last year when Miami led 31-0 and then lost? They have another good quarterback, Vinny Testaverde. Kevin House is split wide to the left, and Gerald Carter is out wide to the right. Steve DeBerg, the quarterback, and James Wilder, the lone setback. They give to Wilder on the center. Nothing doing. Kenny Hill, a safety man, up with a very, very strong force. Good play by Kenny Hill. Miami 10, New England nothing. Second quarter. Houston leading Kansas City 6-0 second quarter. Houston starting to play a little bit tougher. Washington 24-3 over Atlanta. Sad days in Atlanta. And Cleveland 6-0 over Pittsburgh. They give again to Wilder. Wilder hammers to about the 22. A gain of perhaps 3. Harry Carson on the bottom of the pile.
Well, the Giants look like that they're starting to wake up now, that they're starting to get a feel for the game, that they've gotten into it. It looked like they were kind of sleepwalking there for a while, and now they're kind of fired up and pumped up, and I think that they're ready to start making something happen here, and they'd like to get the ball back again and get another shot at it before halftime.
Giants have just taken a timeout with 2:09 left in the first half. Green Bay and Chicago. The Packers were very upset with some of the Bears' offensive tactics that they used against them a couple of weeks ago. There have already been a lot of fights in that game. There's been one ejection that we know about, one of the Packer players thrown out. The NFL Today, of course, will keep us updated at halftime with Brent Nerve and Dan Deerdorf in the studio with scores and highlights, and a special feature on the Soaring Eagle defense, particularly their secondary. They are good.
Yeah, and the other guy that they're talking about here is Reggie White. Remember the minister of defense?
Right.
We had him his first game up there, and I'll tell you, usually a guy comes in the first game he plays, he's not a force, but this guy had like 3 or 4 sacks in his first game as an Eagle. And if he got better from that, whoop.
It is a cool but comfortable day to play at Giant Stadium. The score, if you're a Giant fan, is not comfortable at the moment. If you're a Buccaneer fan, it is. They lead 10-6. Hatcher Armstrong is in the backfield. Passing situation for the Bucs. Giants looking for a turnover or a sack or an interception. DeBerg. Pass complete. Kevin House pulled up for the underthrown pass. Got the Buccaneer first down.
Well, you know, it looked like Perry Williams was giving Kevin House a big cushion out there. Lawrence Taylor slithers through on here right as DeBerg throws it. He's able to get the ball off, but it looked like to me, well, what happened, Perry Williams was off a little, and I think he got turned around.
And the pass is underthrown.
You see, he's playing him tight here, and what happened is House just came back to the ball a little, and Perry Williams kept going.
So the Bucs have a first down, and they give again. They make to Wilder. Going deep is DeBerg. Looking for Giles, I think.
I'll tell you, he had Giles, too, on that play. Giles was behind the linebackers. That was just a poor throw by Steve DeBerg.
And we get the 2-minute warning with the Bucs leading the Giants 10-6. Giants 6 with 1:59 left to play in the first half. Don't forget, next Sunday, a doubleheader. Starts with the NFL Today. The Rams against the Giants here at Giant Stadium. Rams, of course, 7-1 going into today, and then that traditional and long-time fierce, angry rivalry. The Cowboys against the Redskins. And George Allen, the ex-coach of the Redskins who helped create part of that rivalry, will be in the studio with us next week. Here's DeBerg. The Giants on a blitz. Jerry Bell comes up with a first down reception, tackled by Harry Carson.
Tell you, on this drive, Steve DeBerg has made a couple of big throws. You know, that one on third down, getting the first, that one there to Jerry Bell. He's really zipped that thing in there.
Gets rid of it in a hurry. He's on target again to Kevin House. Boy, what a shot from DeBerg that time. Perfect.
DeBerg is something. You know, as I said, he leads the conference in touchdown passes thrown. This guy can throw the ball.
He always has been able to throw it. He goes again. He has a catch from Kevin House. And they'll move those sticks again. A gain of 17.
Just what we're saying, it looks like the Giants were taking over the momentum. DeBerg comes, boom, 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 4 passes in a row. There's a pretty big cushion out there for Kevin House. You see, he just lets Perry Williams just lets him have about 5 or 6 yards and catch that thing in front of him. I don't think when you're down in that area you can play that far off of Kevin House.
The Bucs have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. They have a first down at the Giant 15. Bell in motion. The handoff is to Wilder. Wilder is chased and cut by Burt, but he still managed to pick up about 3 yards. Harry Carson, maybe a gain of 2.
You know, one thing Bill Parcells says is, he said, we have to stop James Wilder in his running first. They've done a pretty good job on Wilder in the run. They really just haven't done a very good job on the pass on this drive.
Gain of 2. It'll be 2nd and 8. Ball at the Giant 13. Lehman Bennett's Buccaneers have 2 timeouts remaining, and so do the Giants. Just 1 second under a minute left to play in the first half. Jimmy Ray along with Lehman.
Well, you know, as we see Jimmy Ray there, Steve DeBerg was saying that Jimmy Ray called him in and had a talk with him last week, and they thought that Steve DeBerg was trying to win the games himself, forcing the ball too much. And Jimmy Ray told him, he said, we're not that type of team. He said, let's just move the chains on it. First down here, here. And I think that drive that the Buccaneers are in right now is probably the thing that Jimmy Ray was telling Steve DeBerg this past Tuesday.
I think they felt that DeBerg was trying to do too much, possibly because of criticism in Tampa, because they've been on him a little bit. He says he's not deaf, and I'm sure he's not.
And possibly because they have a backup quarterback, Steve Young, who they're paying $1 million a year or something, and he's yet to play, and the fans want to see him. And anytime DeBerg throws an incomplete pass or an interception, the crowd at home goes up, we want that guy right there. We want Young. We want Young.
Second down. Jerry Bell this time is still as a wide receiver. DeBerg's looking in the other direction. To Giles. Flag is down. Giles comes up with the football. Gary Reasons was all over Jimmy Giles, and Jimmy Giles was pushing, and it's going to be offensive interference, I believe.
You don't see that too often. Usually when you see the flag with the receiver, it's usually against the defensive back.
Number 88, offense, still second down.
There was a linebacker and defensive back on Giles. 55 is Gary Reasons there. I don't know, I guess that they felt that Giles pushed Reasons down with his left hand. I thought that was a pretty good play by Giles, though. I mean, there's things when you have linebackers and guys flying around in the end zone, there's going to be a little of that. That's it. It's going to be his left hand right there where he pushes him. Now, it looks like Reasons stumbled more than Giles pushed him.
DeBerg. Pass is picked off by Terry Kennard. But a penalty marker is down. And so is a Buccaneer.
And the same official threw the flag in the same area.
Kevin House was the injured Buccaneer. He's up. The interception by Terry Kennard, but I think it's going to go against the Giants, and the Bucs are going to keep the ball.
And it's an interesting thing. It was the same official in the same area throwing the flag. The first one against the Bucs.
Interference, number 34, defense, first down.
The first one, they're saying it's Elvis Patterson right here making contact before the ball gets there. He was trying to shut out Kevin House, and of course the interception comes out. Patterson is saying, hey, I can do that.
I don't think he can.
Well, again, he was going for a position that House had. And it was a position Patterson didn't have. He was trying to take away the position while the ball was in the air. You see, here he is now. He's going to drive with his left shoulder, trying to cut off House there. I think House had the position.
First and goal at the 5, and here's Wilder to about the 3 or 2.5. Clock running at 40 seconds left to play in the first half. The Bucs still have 2 timeouts remaining. Now they don't have but 1. They just call 1. It'll be second and goal from the 3 when they get through with this conference.
Well, Steve DeBerg is coming over here to talk to Lehman Bennett and Jimmy Ray. I'm sure they're thinking that they want to save their last timeout for the field goal. So I don't think they would run. If they run, it's second down. If they run, they only have 1 run. That's the thing they have to think about. If they pass, they can do 2 passes. So I would think the play here would be a pass.
Igwe Donald.
He probably doesn't want to kick here. It's just a chip shot for him. He's warming up in case he has to. But again, I think the Buccaneers can take 2 shots at the end zone with a pass and then, still have the field goal if that doesn't work. If they take a run, then they're only going to have 1 play. If they don't score with it, I think they would have to then kick the field goal on 3rd down.
Again, a reminder coming up at the half, Brent Erb and Dan Deerdorf in the studio with scores and highlights of what's happened around the NFL. And a feature on that soaring eagle defense. A lot of people thought in the beginning of the year, after watching Philadelphia come out of the blocks, that they might not win a game all year. Now they're 4-4 and in the division race.
I think I was one of those guys after we saw them the first week against the Giants here.
Wilder is the deep back. Armstrong is the up back. They get to Wilder. Wilder right at the line of scrimmage. Nothing doing. Harry Carson was the man who led the charge. Clock running now with 25 seconds left to play in the first half. The Buccaneers hurry back.
That was good defense here by the Giants, just coming right down the line. I was a little surprised at that play. They're going to be able to get 2 plays in here.
DeBerg throws it over everybody's head and out of the end zone. Nobody was open. The Giant defense rises to the occasion, and Igwe Buike comes on to try the field goal. Bucks leading 10-6. Will be 13, assuming he makes it.
That was an interesting exchange down there. The Bucks throw for a touchdown, and it's called back penalty. The Giants intercept. That's called back penalty. The Bucks can't get in, have to settle for a field goal. I don't know, and all that stuff that was going on, I don't know who won it.
Well, there's a guy who has a chance to put some points on there. The Giants now have called a timeout. They have an injured player right in the middle of the field, right in front of the goalpost. And right now we're blocked as you are. Looks like it could be Harry Carson. Leonard Marshall's big broad back blocking out.
Was the last play. See, the first one they went for the run. This one they went to play pass, but Byron Hunt, number 57, gets in there, puts good pressure on DeBerg. And really, that was one thing. The other thing is there was no one open. So what DeBerg was doing, when he felt the pressure, he knew he didn't want to take a sack. He knew he didn't want to throw an interception in the end zone, so he just threw it away, and they're just going to take the 3 and be satisfied.
That is Harry Carson, who is the injured Giant.
You talk about a guy being a heart and soul of a team. Harry Carson, I think, is one of those guys on this Giant defense. Anytime it's cold, Harry's going to prove to the team it's not. It was cold out here yesterday, remember, and Harry Carson comes out and he's just practicing in a T-shirt.
And shorts. Still haven't been able to determine what the problem is. Miami leads New England 10-3 in the second quarter. Houston over Kansas City 6-3. Washington overwhelming Atlanta 31-3. That's teacher against pupil. Joe Gibbs against Dan Henning. Buffalo 10, Cincinnati 6. And Minnesota leading Detroit now 6-3 in the second quarter. The Redskins seem to have it back on track, although they didn't look like it against the Giants here a couple of weeks ago. We'll be seeing them next week against Dallas. Harry Carson being helped off. Robbie Jones, number 51, is his replacement. When we get back to action, it'll be a 20-yard field goal attempt by Igwe Buike.
It is just a short one. I know field goal kickers hate to hear that, just a short one, but had it been a longer one with all that delay, he would have had a lot to think about.
Rips that one right down the middle, and the Bucks lead 13-6 with 7 seconds left to play in the first half.
The Giants started this way last week against New Orleans. Although they were moving the ball. And this time they're really not having the success either offensively, moving the ball, or defensively stopping the Buccaneers as they go into halftime today. I think last week they went in there with a feeling of frustration, knowing we're better than these guys, we can do it. I think this time they're going to go in and say, I don't know if we can do it.
There goes Harry Carson to the locker room, and we'll do our best to keep you informed as to what the problem is. I really didn't see him get hit on that play. obviously he did. Into the tunnel and off to the right to the Giants locker room. 7 seconds left to play in the first half. Tampa Bay Buccaneers leading 13-6. That field goal by Igwe, by the way, was his 7th in a row, and it ties a Buccaneer record.
And then he just broke a Buccaneer record on that long one, his first one, so he's having a record day here.
Line shot to Adam. Fumbles it, picks it up at the 1. Chased down by Mark White. Every time they've kicked off, Mark White has made the tackle. And so they head for the locker room at the half. At the end of the first half at Giant Stadium. Tampa Bay 13, the Giants 6. And the word on Harry Carson, by the way, John, is that he has a concussion, and in all likelihood he will not return. 13-6 at the half on a cool, brisk day. Somewhat of a surprise, although the Buccaneers have 4 times previously led at the half and lost.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Toyota, who offers a full line of 1986 cars and trucks. More dependability, more quality, more satisfied owners. Who could ask for anything more?
Who has
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Honda, who invite you to see the Prelude SI at your local Honda dealer. Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Canon cameras. They make the great shots simple.
As you can see, as you look at the far side of Giant Stadium, the sun has come out, and this is a very crucial quarter coming up if history is worth anything. Look what the Giants have done in the third quarter against their opponents, 71-17. Look what the Buccaneers have done, 67 for the opponents, 17 for the Bucs. So,
the thing is, that's what happened. And I don't know that the Giants have made anything happen in the first half. And to do that, it's nice, but they're going to have to make it happen.
Hubert kicks off short. Bill Freeman handles for the Bucs. Penalty flag went down in the middle of that pile, I think. Yes, I do see a yellow flag. Down on the bottom of the pile underneath one of the Buc players, Terry Kennard made the stop.
It's interesting how many flags are on kickoffs. Sometimes, maybe the rules don't work. Because this happens too often. I'm not saying that Tampa Bay was right or wrong or the Giants.
Number 85, receiving team, first stop.
Mark White.
Excuse me.
I was just going to say, alluding to what you were talking about, ways to speed up the game. Both the NFL, all the networks have been looking for ways to make the game shorter. Maybe that's something that should be considered.
Well, it all started when they put in the rule that you can't block below the waist. And so when you bump them once, there's nothing else you can do except grab them.
Harry Carson, who was injured, suffered a concussion, we heard in the first half, is back in the game. And Ron Springs is playing instead of James Wilder. Wilder, as perhaps you know, came into the game with a sprained ankle. I see him standing on the sideline. He seems okay. But Ron Springs, whom they got from Dallas, has taken his place as the lone setback.
And Springs has been more of a fullback or a second back type of guy in his career in the pros than he ever has been a single back or the primary guy.
2nd and 9. Springs got one. Give again to Ron Springs. Jim Burt got Springs after a gain of about 2, maybe 3. There's Wilder over on the sideline.
sometimes a back gets stronger as he goes. Now, you can see that happened to Weiler in the first half. The first 5 times, he averaged 3.4. His next 5, he was 4.2. Then he went down. In his third 5, he was 1.2. And maybe that's when the ankle started bothering him. And that's maybe why he didn't start this second half.
3rd and 6. Ron Spring is still the lone setback. And they give to Spring. Spring gets to about the 25, is stopped short of the first down, and Frank Garcia will have to come in to kick. Herb Welch made the tackle.
I wonder about that drive. The Buccaneers had so much going at the end of the half. Then they come out in this, starting the second half, and they just run 3 times in a row to Ron Spring. Now, maybe they felt that they didn't want to force anything or have any turnovers. They wanted to play conservative. You don't want to do that too soon.
Garcia, the punter, doesn't get it all. McConkey gathers it into their own 37. Looks for a place to go, and now he has some room. Out of bounds is McConkey. Hammered out by Mike Fryer, but the Giants get it in Buccaneer territory. A 41-yard punt, a 21-yard return by McConkey.
Tell you, McConkey does a nice job on this. He starts up the middle. Now, you see what that does is that draws all the rush guys in. Now he stops. He has them all drawn there. Now he sees out here. If he gets a block, there's no one out there. Now he can turn the corner and get that thing up and get the ball past midfield before he gets knocked out of bounds.
First down, Giants. The Buccaneer 47. That's Manuel in motion, and Sims gives to Joe Morris. Morris is chased, but nevertheless gets the corner turned before he's knocked out of bounds by Keith Browner and gained about 3.
Well, it happens over there in the sideline. You know, everything that goes wrong when you're in there playing, you have to get fixed before you go out again. That's their big tackle, Ron Heller. I'll tell you, that guy is a big man. We saw him last night in the lobby and talked to him. Got great big, thick hands on him, big arms. I mean, he's not a pumped-up guy. You know, he's a normally big guy.
6'6" and 285. Sims back to throw. Has time. Gets it to Lionel Manuel, who slips down. Tried to juke back to his left. He had a first down if he had kept going. Now he lost it. Keith Browner on the stop.
That's the thing. I used to always tell my receivers, I like you to try. I like you to break them. But the thing I don't like is don't ever get a first down and then lose it because you're trying to make more. If you get first down, let them move the chains. We'll take that, but don't start jumping and jump back and lose the down. Because now, this is a tough situation.
3rd and 2 it is. Maurice Carpin is in front of Joe Morris. The give is to Morris. He's got the first down and more. Morris, stopped by Jeremiah Castillo, a pickup of 11.
You know who the happiest guy was with that run? It's not Joe Morris. He's the second happiest guy. The happiest guy was Lionel Manuel. He had the first down and lost it. Then they came back, and Joe Morris got it again. Carthon leads. He follows him. Good block by Carthon right there. Now, that got Morris the first down.
That block by Maurice Carthon. Byron Williams is split out wide to the left. This is Morris moving in motion. And Sims back to throw. Has the time. Has Navarro, and he had a touchdown. A little bit high. Ivory Sully was the defender. That ball had been lower. That would have been 6.
Ivory Sully said, when I'm playing free safety, anyone comes in that middle, I'm going to make them pay for it. Bavaro gets in that middle, is exposed, and Ivory Sully hit him right in the ribs.
He had a stretch to reach high for that.
Ivory Sully, when he played with the Rams, remember, he's just a special teams guy and one of the best in the league. He said, but I didn't want to be known as just a special teams guy.
2nd and 10. Bucks take a blitz. Now they do blitz. Sims steps up into the pocket. Sims is tripped. Finally caught. The ball comes loose, but he was down. Tackled by Jeff Davis, number 58.
That was some tackle by Jeff Davis, because if he doesn't dive and make that play on Phil Sims, Sims has a first down inside the 20. We see Davis. He's 58 there. He starts on a blitz, gets picked up, so he stops. Now he sees he's starting to convert. He makes that diving tackle and just gets Sims's left ankle. Now, when the ball goes down and they fumble as a result of hitting the ground, then that's not a fumble.
It does. Third down. Sims steps up into the pocket, gets it down to McConkey, who has it first down at 10. About the 11. A gain of 13. They move those sticks.
He's something. Phil McConkey just finds the open area. See, he's the inside guy here. He starts, he finds an area, squares off, comes in the middle under control, catches the ball, dips his shoulder, but he can't do a lot with a dipped shoulder. You know, he only packs about a 165-pound load.
Loaded up enough for the first down. Sims back to throw. Down the middle. Incomplete for Carpenter. Chris Washington was the Tampa Bay defender closest.
It was a poor throw by Phil Sims. It looked like the ball had stickum on it. It looked like he threw it, and then it just died on him like it fell off a table. That's what we used to always worry about in the days of stickum, that your guy would catch it, but then your quarterback would have to throw a ball with stickum on it. I think that's why they outlawed it.
Among other reasons.
I think they ought to check that ball for stickum.
Second down and 10 from the 12-yard line. Sims fakes to Morris. Looks, has a man. Bavaro. Mark Bavaro down to about the 3. Stopped by Keith Browner.
I'll tell you, that's one of the plays that the Giants have run effectively. They start both backs this way. Now the tight end, Bavaro, see, then you get the flow of the linebackers here. Then this guy, Bavaro, sneaks across here. Now see, watch, both backs are going to come to the left. You see him come here? Then Bavaro sneaks across. See him over there on the right side? And then he can get over there and get that darn near first down. Get flow that way, tight end opposite.
Third and 1. Hartman and Morris are the two setbacks. Leo Cab just moved. Give this to Morris. Good score. Another good block by Maurice Carthon.
Maurice Carthon put John Holt on his back. That's what you call a decleater. That's about as well as a fullback can block. Watch him. He's going to come out here. Watch him block. See 21 there? Watch there. He just lifts him up, puts him right down on his back. That's a complete decleater. And then all Morris had to do was just step around it into the end zone.
Put him down and jumped on it. As Eric Schubert hits the extra point with Jeff Rutledge holding. And the score is tied at 13 apiece. Joe Morris getting better and better every week. Madden, 13-13 at Giant Stadium.
We have to look at that block by Maurice Carthon one more time. That's what you call a pancake job. And then he goes and sits. See, Joe Morris is smart, number 20. You always want to sit next to your blockers, you know, so that they always know who you are. And then you can sit there and you can pat him on the back and his shoulder a lot and say, good block. So you can talk to him. And when you spit down. You never spit their way when a guy makes a block for you like that.
Schubert's kickoff is high, and will stay up there a long time before Phil Freeman starts from his 5-yard line. And he is hit right at the 20. Robbie Jones was down in a good coverage. College football, by the way, the bowl drive is on, and next Saturday you'll see two teams with bold hopes, the Miami Hurricanes against the Maryland Terrapins, live at 3:30 Eastern Time. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Some of you will see a Pac-10 meeting between Washington and Arizona State. But that's the big one. Miami against Maryland. First and 10, Buccaneers. 9:50 left third quarter. And the score tied 13 apiece. 5 times now this year, Tampa Bay has led at the half, and 5 times they've lost. Wilder is back. Wilder is off. Taken down by Lawrence Taylor after after a gain of 17 yards.
I wonder why Wilder didn't start in the second half, and then now they decide that he's okay. Maybe he just wanted some time to warm up, but I like the way he runs this counter to the left. You see, he starts, makes a jump to the right, then he comes at an angle, and he's behind that left guard and left tackle. He lets him get in front of him. He always has that right arm free.
So he can deliver a blow. Here's the bird. Pass intended for House, and House was hit hard by Perry Williams.
That time Perry Williams was right there with Kevin House. Remember, just before the half, he looked like on that he gave a little too much cushion to him. Now, I'm sure that that's one of the things that the Giant defensive coaches talked about at halftime. You know, come out there, play that thing a little tighter. When you see him make that break, start to close on it sooner.
House goes wide to the left, and Carver comes out wide right. Wilder again, chased from behind and caught by Leonard Marshall.
Hey, that was a play by Marshall, that counter play where the tackle over him was going to pull. Watch Marshall, the outside guy. We see Sean Farrell pull. Now what you teach Marshall, get right in Farrell's back pocket. He's leading the ball carrier, so he'll lead you right to him. So Marshall did that and said, look what I found in Farrell's back pocket.
That's a play that number 70, Leonard Marshall, would not have made last year.
Oh, no. A year ago, he'd still be sitting in that stance.
3rd and 11 as Adger Armstrong has replaced Wilder. Steve DeBerg looking at a passing situation and looking at the heat. Elvis Patterson from the outside, and that's the Giants' first sack of the day. Nobody picked him up.
Well, you know, they probably stick him. You see Marshall here. He's the outside guy. Watch Patterson. He was lined up outside like he was a cover guy. He just blitzed. Now, no one blocked him up and blocked him, and the reason they didn't is you don't count the defensive back in that situation.
Garcia. Respectable punt. McConkey at the 23. Respectable return. Mike Fryer is down there to knock him down. The Giants take over with 8 minutes left to play in the third quarter. 47-yard punt by Garcia. A return of 20 by McConkey, who's had a good day.
He's right here. Got that third down sack. He's lined up here to cover. Now, this group here, you don't count him. You're not looking. Now, when he goes from a cover position to a blitz position, there's no one that's watching him that would block him anyway. So he looks like he's going to cover, but just before the ball comes, see him sneak in there? Well, they don't even account for him in that situation.
Now the Giants go right to work as Sims is back to throw, gets away from one, finally throws out to Carpenter, and Carpenter will have a first down. Keith Browner put Rob Carpenter out of bounds.
That's what a quarterback likes. That's his security blanket. The fact that he can look deep, and you always have someone hanging around underneath that if nothing is open or your protection breaks down, that you can dump it off to.
That's that thing you were talking about last week. You can look deep and come short, but you can't do it in reverse. Sims to Morris. Morris is in room. Bill Morris hammers down to the Tampa Bay 36-yard line. Chris Washington on the stop.
I'll tell you, on that one, you know, they had Jeff Davis blitzing again. Now, watch 58 here. See, as we see him right here, watch this. As he goes in here, he just sells out. Now, he's going to go in. He's trying to raise havoc in there. Gets blocked by Benson. Now, Morris can come right back into here in the hole that Jeff Davis vacated. It's a heck of a block by Brad Benson picking him off.
On second down, it's Morris again. And now it'll be first down. Chris Washington and Craig Curry. Tripped up, Joe. But he's running well.
Yeah, you always wonder, a team like the Giants that is so successful, both on offense and defense in the third quarter, what does Bill Parcells tell them? I'll tell you one thing, it's not an emotional speech. What it is you have an opportunity to look at what you did in the first half, look at the Polaroids, and then change and come out with your best stuff.
They've come out with their best stuff. You saw the graphic on how they've done in this quarter. Morris taken down by Dave Logan. Dave Logan is remarkable, as John Madden was saying early in the game. We talked to him last night, and he is one of the premier nose tackles in the league, but he's just not that. He doesn't look like a nose tackle.
I'll tell you, he has the longest fingers, though, I've ever seen in my life. If we can get a shot of those hands, I mean, those are long fingers, and he can get it. He can grab stuff, but what he does, he uses his quickness more than his strength.
Second down at 9 or 8. Sims intended for Mark Bavaro. Keith Browner running with him. Ball just soared and slipped between Bavaro's hands.
That was good coverage by Browner. See, they tried to do the same thing. They tried to get Bavaro coming all the way across. See, from left to right, he's coming across, but the linebacker was with him, and he just hit him just as the ball went through. But Bavaro should catch that ball anyway. He knows it. You don't have to tell guys that drop it to know it. They know it more than you know it.
Irvin Randall was the Buccaneer on the blitz. Wide open is Tony Galbraith. And Galbraith ducks enough for them to pick up a first down, a gain of 10. David Greenwood was the man who made the tackle.
You know, Bill Parcells had a talk with Tony Galbraith this week, and he said, you know, so when we put you in there on third down, he said, we haven't been very successful at that. And he said, really, that's all you do. So if you don't do well when it's all you do, then we won't need you much longer.
5 for 20 they were in that third down situation where Galbraith comes in. Today they're 2 for 2. Here's Morris. He hammers down inside the 10. Chris Washington tripped him up, but it'll be first and goal Giants.
I think Joe Morris runs as well from the I formation as anything. You see, he can get that thing, run straight at the hole, get a pretty good block by his fullback, Rob Carpenter, get up into the line, cut off that block.
It's not first and goal. He didn't quite get the first down. It's 2nd and 1. Now he has the first down. Chris Washington and Irvin Randall made the stop.
Yeah, I think Maurice Carthon has really helped Rob Carpenter. When he sees Carthon do it, he said, if that's what it takes, I better do it. Now look at the block right there Carpenter got. He kind of liked that one. He does a little clap at the end. But it wasn't one that knocks the guy down, but it was one that lets your back get by and get the first down.
And it's first and goal at the 3. Carthon and Morris are the second. Sims is going to try to throw, and he can't get rid of it as Craig Curry came on a blitz the 4th time they've gotten to Phil Sims today. Nobody saw him coming, including Phil Sims.
Now, I'm sure the Giants think they should have stayed with the run. See, they went to play pass again, both backs this way. Carthon, the guy we were bragging about how well he's been blocking, he just missed Craig Curry. Curry went right by him and got the sack. They were trying to get Mark Bavaro across the field and into the end zone. I'm sure, you know, it's easy to second guess and think, geez, you were running so well, you should have stayed with it, but they went for the shot.
They're back at the 11 now on 2nd and goal. Tampa Bay takes this timeout. 3-0.
Timeout. They only had 10 guys on the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's tough enough to play when you're 0-8. They were playing with 10 guys down there in the goal line. That's darn near impossible. But you hate to waste those timeouts, but you like to have 11 out there.
That could be one of the reasons they're 0-8.
With 10 too much?
Right. 2nd and goal from the 11. Morris comes in motion. They come with him. They bring two men with him. Somebody should be open. Bavaro, touchdown, but a penalty marker is down.
That was something, putting Joe Morris out. I wonder if Joe Morris, who came in motion, turned up before the ball was snapped, because it was in the area where Morris
Illegal
was.
motion, number 20, offense, still second down.
Let's see if we can see Morris coming across. The official's talking to him there, but here's Morris coming across. Now he has to stay parallel. If he turns up any before the ball snapped, that's what they're getting him on. He's okay, he's okay, he's okay, he's okay. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That was okay.
He might have had his eyes looking in that direction. Is that motion?
I don't know. Not to me. He went parallel. He didn't turn up. That's a bad call.
McConkey is split wide to the left, and Sims back to throw. Sims looking for somebody, has it batted away. Irvin Randall hammered the ball back past Sims.
Tell you, had Sims seen Joe Morris earlier, he would have had a touchdown. See, he's looking out here to the left. He's looking out here. Now when he comes back, it's too late. But he was trying to throw to Joe Morris, who was open the whole time. Watch Morris here. You see, he's coming, he's coming, he's coming. Had he thrown it to him sooner, now when he throws it to him, then, of course, the ball's batted down.
Irvin Randall on top of Sims, batted it away, and it's third down now. And they're backed up to the 16. It's third from the 16, third and goal. Sims out of the spread. This time he has time. This time he gets it to Tony Galbraith. And Tony scoots down to about the 6. And it's field goal time again.
Well, of course, that one was no good there. I mean, you have to get the ball in the end zone. When you're third down, if you don't get it in the end zone, you're going to kick the field goal anyway. So I would think I would throw it into the end zone. If no one's open, I'd just throw it away. But I'd try and get the ball in the end zone and not dump it off.
Eric Schubert, who has been successful twice in 2 attempts already, will try this one from 24 yards away. And he's 3 for 3. And the Giants have the lead. With 2 minutes and 11 seconds left to play in the third quarter, the Giants 16, Tampa Bay 13. The Giants leading 16-13. 3 field goals by their new kicker, Eric Schubert. The last one of 24 yards. We have 2 minutes, 11 seconds left to play in the third quarter. 16-13 the score. Schubert to kick off. Freeman and Pryor back deep for the Bucs. Freeman at the 6. And Freeman a good return outside the 30, about the 34 before Elvis Patterson brings him down. A return of 28 yards.
Well, that's the one area that the Giants have been worried about all year is that kickoff coverage. You know, whether it's the kicker not kicking the ball deep enough, the coverage guys not getting down there. If there's been one constant area of dissatisfaction, I think it's been that for the Giants.
That's what happened to Jess Atkinson. First and 10 Buccaneers from their own 34. A cool afternoon in the Meadowlands. The Bird back to throw, back to block. Pass almost picked off by Terry Kennard, intended for Kevin House. While we have a second, let's go back to Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Pat, here's the turnaround of the Green Bay-Chicago game. The blitz is on for the Bears, and Jim Zorn picks it up, and it hits Jesse Clark, and now the Packers lead, so the Bears will need another miracle from the refrigerator. Let's go back to Pat and John.
The refrigerator, of course, caught a touchdown pass earlier. Here the score, the Giants 16, the Buccaneers 13. Steve DeBerg on second and 10 from his own 35. Again, Bucs blitz. Giles, the intended receiver, wrestled to the ground by 3 men around him. Lawrence Taylor was on a blitz. Third quarter, Miami 10, New England 3. Houston, tougher and tougher as the weeks passed over Kansas City 20-6. Washington overpowering Atlanta 34-3. Mark Mosley has just kicked the field goal. Cincinnati over Buffalo 13-10. Pittsburgh 7-6 over Cleveland now. That's in the fourth quarter. Minnesota over Detroit 13-10 third quarter. 3rd and 10 here. The Bucs operate from their 35-yard line. DeBerg back to throw. Here comes the blitz again. DeBerg gets it outside to Gerald Carter. He is almost torn in half by Perry Williams, and it will not be a first down.
That was that same blitz on 3rd down that they got him last time with Elvis Patterson lining up like he was going to cover, coming from the outside. That time Sean Farrell was able just to bump him off.
Garcia back to kick for Tampa Bay, and McConkey standing at his own 17-yard line. This one will stay up there a long time. McConkey does not signal to the Bearcats, fields it, and is cut down at the 25 by Keith Browner. Next week's schedule, by the way, the Rams will come here to play at Giants Stadium. Rams 7-1 going into this weekend. The Giants 5-3 and leading the Bucs right now 16-13. And then John Madden and I will be at RFK Stadium in Washington when the Cowboys at 6-2 go to play the Redskins, who look like they'll be 5-4. Chased him out of bounds. The numbers on Joe Morris, pretty impressive.
Well, you know, it's an interesting thing. Joe Morris, we see in his first 5, started out average. That's 3.6. Then his next 5, he went down, 2.8. Now he comes back. He gets a little oxygen at halftime, a little Gatorade, whatever. Now he's 5'8". So it's high, low, high.
17 carries for 77 yards for Morris. Back there with Rob Carpenter now. Here comes the Buccaneer blitz, and Joe Morris again is able to get to the outside, stopped by Chris Washington. Again, Jeff Davis with that blitz up the middle just sort of took himself out of the play.
That's what they do. They're packing everything in the middle, and then they're able to get outside on him. Now what they're trying to do, they're trying to get through there, and they're trying to get in here and knock off the guards and stuff. But if that doesn't happen, see, when you start your penetration, the center picked him off. Now they knock down the end. Now look at all this room out here. If Carpenter gets a block here, that would have been a big play for Morris. Carpenter missed in the open field.
Adams is the ball carrier this time, and George Adams rambles into Buccaneer territory before he is finally stopped by Jeff Davis. A gain of 10. The Giants have gotten good performance and good production out of those 2 halfbacks the last 2 weeks, last 3 weeks, as a matter of fact. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. The Giants 16, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 13. We now pause for a word from your local station.
League is sponsored by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. The astonishingly simple new Sony Handycam. All the excitement of video movies now in the palm of your hand. And by Transamerica for insurance and financial services. The power of the pyramid is working for you.
1st and 10 Giants. They're at the Tampa Bay 48-yard line, leading 16-13. This is Lionel Manuel in motion. This is Sims to Joe Morris. And Morris scampering down the sideline. Gets inside the Buck 30. Ivory Sully finally brought him down, but a gain of 19 for the compact Joe Morris.
You know, one of the things that the Giants had planned was to come in here and wear down this Tampa Bay defense. And I think they've done that. I think you can say, starting in the third quarter, they started to wear them down. You know, they're beating on them, beating on them, beating them. Now they're a half a step slower than they were.
It would appear that you are exactly right. give is to Morris. He almost broke another tackle. That one by Keith Browner. And he's still got about 5. And Morris stays down. He's getting close to 100 yards on the day if he doesn't already have it.
I think he has his 100 by now. In fact, he does. He has 109. I don't know if that's a twisted ankle, though, or a kicked ankle. And an injury like this, you always hope that it's a kicked ankle. That's just a bruise. A twisted ankle is more serious. Let's see if we can see it right here. We can see it looked like it was grabbed and twisted in the tackle. But Joe Morris, as he walks out, he's getting a standing ovation here. And he's not limping. Standing ovations do that to you, I think.
That's the best therapy. Looks like Joe is okay.
I wonder when the last time a running back got a standing ovation for the Giants.
Alex Webster, maybe. Nothing doing for Adams as Jeff Davis this time is successful up the middle.
That time it worked. You know, as we see the penetration this time, we'll see that the penetration is going to get in this time, and this time it doesn't allow him. Coming from the other side, we see the penetration right here. He was able to get in, then come down the line to get at him.
Morris is back in the game now, so it obviously was a stinger, not a sprainer. 3rd down and 4. Carpenter is alone setback, and Morris is split out wide to the right. Here come the Bucs on a blitz. Sims has the time, throws to Morris. Almost a spectacular catch. Chris Washington.
I don't know if Morris was trying to lull Washington to sleep or if Morris didn't think he was going to get the pass. Because just before that, he was just kind of jogging like he was out for a walk in the park. And then Sims threw it to him, and he goes, well, I better get going here. I wonder if he planned it. No, I don't think he planned it. That reaction shows that wasn't that he got caught taking it easy, I think.
Schubert is 3 for 3, this time from 41 yards out. And he's good again. 4 for 4. Parcells is liking it. He just got him on the phone last Wednesday, and he's 4 for 4. For 4, we have 12:59 left to play. Contest, the Giants leading the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 19-13.
Why do they always squeeze the ball like that and try and get the air down or soften? What do you guys do when you squeeze the ball before you kick it?
I don't remember I ever did that.
You just kicked whatever they gave you. Huh? Oh, where's Lawrence Taylor? Bring Taylor in again. The best kick he had is when Lawrence Taylor was holding for him. And Lawrence is walking in now. He remembers it. Yep, so he looks down there. Where's Lawrence? There he is. Okay, I'll hold it with that right hand. The right hand is a wrong hand, but it worked last time. Got the fingers taped so you can see the whole deal. Lawrence, like his golf playing, going to keep my head down. Head down. Don't look up. Don't lift my hand off it.
Watch Lawrence. Yep. And it's another good kick. Fryer fumbles it. Picks it up, comes out to about the 16. Robbie Jones and the holder, Lawrence Taylor, down to make the stop.
Lawrence Taylor hasn't been in on a lot of plays today, and maybe that's why he's doing things like holding the ball, running down on kicks. Look at that. Now, there's a little blood. That's what happens when you get to be a guard and you get in there in the pits and you're blocking nose tackles and stuff. You find a lot of blood on your pants. Not your blood, other guys, but you have no idea where it came from.
On 1st down, James Wilder is behind DeBerg, and they give to Wilder. Wilder nudges it to about the 20, just outside the 20, before Jim Burt trips him up.
You know, there's an interesting guy, number 72, Steve Corson there. Remember him? He was a lot bigger. He's lost about 25 pounds.
At least.
He used to be on steroids. And, you know, he's one of those steroids guys got up where he could bench press 550 pounds. And the steroids killed him. He came to a minicamp. His standing heart rate was 168 beats a minute.
He was at a place where he couldn't get his hand in his back pocket. He just couldn't turn around. Here's Taylor blitzing. And a pass from DeBerg to Jerry Bell is incomplete.
I tell you, when your heartbeat at standing at rest is 168 beats a minute, you don't have long to put your hands too many places. But anyway, he got off the steroids, lost the weight, doesn't have the same strength now, but you don't need it. You have to be able to move. You need agility. That stuff, you don't need that stuff.
Much more flexible.
Well, yeah, now he can move his head from right to left. He can pick his arms up. He can comb his hair.
Still strong enough. Can enjoy a cold drink. 3rd and 7. Giants showing blitz, and here they come. And DeBerg steps up, and there they step down. George Martin. Leonard Marshall was close, but Martin would get the sack.
This one here was helped by good coverage. You see DeBerg is back there. He's looking. Now he doesn't have time to throw. They got to the side of him, and then Martin was able, and Casey Merrill came in from behind him because there was no one open to throw earlier to.
Garcia standing at his own goal line. McConkey will field it at his own 45. McConkey slips inside a couple and around a couple, under a couple. Still going. A lot of effort for 4 yards. Greg Curry brought him down. Marshall and Kaler over on the sideline. The Giants enjoying a 6-point lead. The Giants over Tampa Bay. Bill Sims, by the way, in this half is 6 out of 11. 57 yards gained, and DeBerg is 1 out of 5. And they've gained only 3 yards in the air. Byron Williams in motion. Logan was offside. Here's Morris. Hit at the line of scrimmage by Jeff Davis. But Dave Logan jumped too quickly.
That's one of the things, I think, when the nose tackle is a guy like David Logan who's going to jump, try and take a side of that center. Sometimes he does it a little premature.
Still first down. It'll be 1st and 5. Left to play. The Giants leading by 6. It's 1st and 5. As Byron Williams again goes in motion. This is Morris. And Cole Morris. Irvin Randall finally tripped him up. Watch the blocking up front.
You know, Bart Oates, the center, has done a pretty good job on David Logan. Watch him this time. Logan wants to take a side. He took the right, and then Oates put him back to the other side, and Morris was able to break off it. Sometimes you guess right and you get in there. Sometimes you guess wrong and you don't. And sometimes the center makes you go where you don't want to.
Gain of 11 for Morris. Another Giant first down there at the Buccaneers 35. Morris again. Cuts back or tries to. Chris Washington stopped him after a gain of a couple. Miami leading New England 13-10 4th quarter. Houston over Kansas City 20-13. Washington 37-3 over Atlanta. Another field goal by Mark Mosley. Cincinnati 23, Buffalo 10. Jim Breach just kicked the field goal. Detroit, Minnesota tied 13 apiece. Field goal by Eddie Murray just tied it. Second half. Sims to Valaro. Greg Curry made the tackle. Valaro is hard to get off his feet once he gets the ball in his hands. Lumbered for the first down.
Bavaro's an interesting guy. You know, he came to camp here, didn't know anyone. No one knew him. This is the 9th game of the regular season. It's still the same way. He doesn't know anyone. No one knows him. Doesn't talk to anyone. Doesn't talk to players, coaches. Everyone looks at him and says, is that guy weird or is he just quiet?
He gets there first and leaves first. Morris to the outside.
said before, he's not a little guy. He's just a short guy, but he does have power. You know, he has the moves, he has the quickness. Watch that left arm up there right in the face of Castillo. He stayed with it, but that little straight arm picked him up about 2 or 3 more yards.
In this half, the Tampa Bay offense has picked up 15 yards. That's a career high for Joe Morris. The Giants have picked up 184 yards. 2nd and 2. This is Adams. He is met by Logan right at the line of scrimmage. Logan guessed right, picked the right side that time.
That time, as we said, he's going to take the side of the center. Sometimes when he takes the wrong side, they get through. But if he takes the right side, then that's going to happen. This is a short yardage offense for the Cowboys. We saw Conrad Goody come in there, the backup center, who again plays tight end in this situation. Carthon comes in. He'll probably lead for Morris going to the left side.
Conrad Goody is the tight end on the right side. There's Vito Cab moving over to the left. Behind Valaro, he'll give it to Morris. And Morris will not get the first down this time. Irvin Randall. That's one of those things that you were talking about before that becomes predictable, John. Every time Cartland is in there, you know he's going to be the blocker. Wherever he goes, you can pretty well be assured that that the defense goes in that direction.
Yeah, you see Carthon is over there. Vito Cap, the extra tight end, is over there. Everything is over there. Carthon is cheated up to be a blocker, so you know where it's going. Now, again, if you know where it's going from here, down there, they know where it's going, so eventually they're all going to swarm and go there.
So Eric Schubert, who's made them all so far, and he's made another one. He's 5 for 5. Where has he been?
Probably the happiest guy is the guy that made the decision right here. Watch Bill Parcells. He said, I knew it. Yeah! 22-13 Giants. Game will be at RFK Stadium in Washington. And the Cowboys come to town against the Redskins, who are winning today and winning big, and they should be 5 and 4 at that point. Dallas and St. Louis play tomorrow night. So we'll just have to wait and see what their record is, but as it looks right now, that's the way it is. You know, and I think that Washington team, and I've always felt that, is a better team playing on grass than they are artificial turf. And I think, you know, they were on grass today against Atlanta. They had the Cowboys down there. I think they'll get them on grass. I think it'll be a different game. I would do this all the time. Just call Lawrence Taylor in, tell him come in. Look, Taylor's getting to be good at it now. I mean, he got the thing. He's getting the stance, right-handed deal, ball, crooked, brought in towards you.
No way that ball can stay on the tee, crooked like that. Gotta have somebody there to hold it. High kick. Bill Freeman at the 5. No place to go.
This is a new deal in football, I think. I have no idea. I think it's probably for contact lenses, but remember the old days, all they had over there was an old bucket and a ladle in there. And guys, now they got mirrors down there, little things to take your glasses in and out, oxygen.
He must think he's going to be on the post-game show.
Yeah, well, that's a good mirror, though. You see the sweat there in the mirror, and that's a good one. You know, if you had a real clean, shiny mirror, there'd be no place for it in football. But that kind of looks like a football mirror. Look at it. You got it. That right hand was a little shaky.
Well, that's different. First down, Tampa Bay. Deferred, back to throw, and does throw. Pass complete. I think it's Jerry Bell. Taken down by Harry Carson.
Elvis Patterson is being checked there. You see that doctor there always checks the player's leg, then he checks his own leg to see if it feels any different. What they're checking for is hamstring, knee.
That's what it is. A little twinge.
Low hamstring.
Second down. Deferred back to throw again. Does throw to Jerry Bell. That'll be enough for a Buck first down. Clock running now with 7.5 minutes left to play. And the Giants leading 22-13.
Like Jerry Bell twisted his ankle on that right at the end of that play. Looks like it's his left ankle or left knee. You know, the Buccaneers, the two tight ends of Jimmy Giles, who we haven't heard much from lately, they had something going here early, throwing Jimmy Giles to the corner. They've gotten away from it. But the two tight ends of Giles and Jerry Bell have caught more passes than any tight end combination in the league.
Jerry Bell is down. He's been replaced by Calvin McGee, at least at the moment. The Buccaneer training staff looking at Jerry Bell. There's Calvin McGee, number 86, who just checked in. Kansas City has tied Houston now 20-20. Bill Kenny throwing a touchdown pass. And Cleveland has gone back in front of Pittsburgh 9-7. The Browns trying to hold on to that lead. The Bears 16-10 over the Packers. A 27-yard touchdown run by Walter Payton. And for an update, let's go back to New York to the studio and Brent Musburger.
Well, Pat, here is the great Walter Payton. He has rushed for 175 yards. This is the biggest run of the afternoon as he shakes off a would-be tackler, goes 27 yards, and the Bears lead 16-10. Let's go back to Pat and John.
The Giants lead here 22-13 with 7:24 left. Jerry Bell hobbling off. Mark Haynes recently signed over on the Giants sideline. It'll take a while for him to get in shape.
Well, it will. You know, he had the 2-week thing, and he wasn't ready after that. They brought him in. He wasn't intended to play the last 2 weeks, but this week they thought he could play limited duty. And then on Wednesday, he pulled a hamstring, or aggravated a hamstring. Then today in the pregame warm-up, he did it again. But of course, that's why we haven't seen any of Mark Haynes today. But the way Elvis Patterson is playing, I don't know that right now, I don't know that they need Mark Haynes.
I don't know that they'd make a change if everything was equal right now. If Haynes were fine. Jerry Bell is hobbled over to the Buccaneer bench, and he is in obvious pain. Around the 38. Bird back to throw on first down, going deep. He's got Kevin House, and House had it and lost it. It's incomplete. House made an adjustment, turned around, hit the ground, the ball popped out, and the pass is incomplete.
It looked like on this pass that the wind did something with it. The wind is starting to kick up down there in the field. I'll tell you, House had Perry Williams beaten by 5 yards. And he was looking left. The ball came right. I don't know. If he had control of that, that can't be a fumble because the ground can't cause a fumble. Catches the ball. If he had control before he went down, that would have been a legal catch.
Well, in the opinion of the officials, he did not have control, so they bring it back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 10. Tampa Bay from their own 38. DeBerg. Back to throw again. Through the hands of Jimmy Giles. Incomplete.
I was wondering when he was going to go to Giles again. Giles caught 2 in the first half and a touchdown, 2 for 55 yards, and a big touchdown on that corner pattern. They had great success with it in the first half. They haven't gone back to that pattern yet in the second half.
Over on the sideline, Eric Schubert made quite a debut today.
I would have thought the other night when Bill Parcells called, his sister-in-law answered the phone, and he was down buying lottery tickets. And she panicked. She thought, oh, he won't be able to kick. He's buying lottery tickets. But I know the number of the place where he's buying lottery tickets.
He called him at the lottery store. That'll be enough for a first down. Deferred to Gerald Carter. They get out of bounds on the far side of the field, although they didn't rule it out of bounds because the clock is still running.
I think in this situation, you know, we were talking about Schubert and talking about Bill Parcells and being so happy because that was his decision. I mean, he decided to cut Jess Atkinson And then if Haji Sheik were okay, maybe bring him back. But he knew, even if he weren't, that he still had this guy right here, Schubert, who he thinks could do as good a job or better than Atkinson anyway.
Kicks off better, deeper. DeBerg gets to Wilder. Wilder gets about 5 up the middle. Still working on Jerry Bell over on the sideline. He's having a tough time getting around.
It is that left leg.
It is his left ankle. We don't know how serious it is.
One thing about it, the injury does draw a crowd. At one time, he had 4 of those orange-shirted people around him.
Second down at the 47. DeBerg. Pass incomplete. Intended for Calvin McGee. Harry Carson on the coverage. No penalty.
And Harry Carson is a run guy. They usually take Harry out on passing downs, but they were leaving him in. I think they wanted to leave him in more today because the Buccaneers will run on those downs.
Third down and 6.
And Harry had a concussion in the first half. He can probably see 2 fingers now.
He got over it in a hurry, didn't he? 5:36 left to play. The Bird back to throw. He gets it to Gerald Carter. And that would be enough for another first down. Perry Williams was the defender along with Byron Hunt.
You know, Gerald Carter is an interesting thing. He's a starting wide receiver, plays all the time, and he catches 2 passes like every game. Just 2. Not 1, not 3. 2 passes every week. Now, that was his 3rd there, so he broke that string. You know, one string that's going to be broken today also is the previous 3 times that these guys played, the Giants have won, and the score has always been the same, 17-14. That can't happen.
Today it's 22-13. Bucks on first down, and DeBerg goes deep for Kevin House, and Perry Williams was running right with him. So it'll bring up a 2nd and 10 from the 39.
That was good coverage there by Perry Williams.
There's another guy that's been doing a good job for the Giants.
Carl Nelson. The other day, Bill Parcells was kidding his offensive lineman about all being suburban guys. And Carl Nelson walked by and he said, ask him. So I asked him, I said, are you a suburban guy? And he said, heck no, I'm from DeKalb, Illinois. Cornfields, cornfields. See, linemen like to, you know, grow up on ranches and cornfields and farms.
All you do is see it turn brown and see it turn green. Calvin McGee makes the reception. A gain of about 5. That's the first final of the day. Minnesota beat Detroit 16-13 as Jan Stenerud kicked a field goal in the final seconds for the Vikings to beat the Lions. How long have you been saying that name? Or we've been saying that name?
I remember the first year he came into the league was the same year I did as a coach, 1967. So in the NFL, you've been saying it since 1967. In fact, that was the AFL then.
Right. DeBerg to Carter. It looked as if he had it, and all of a sudden the ball popped out and slapped out by Elvis Patterson.
He had good pressure by Casey Merrill, number 71, coming from his backside. They could have called Farrell for holding there. See, he had Merrill on the back and was pulling down on him. But Merrill got by Farrell anyway and hit DeBerg as he threw it.
Farrell and Merrill. Sounds like a dance team.
Farrell blocking Merrill.
It'll be 4th and 6 for the Bucks from the Giant 35. DeBerg back to throw. Chased and does throw. Carter. And he gets out of bounds, stops the clock, gets the first down for Tampa Bay. Elvis Patterson was the defender. Steve Young. Of course, a very valuable acquisition, I think, by the Buccaneers. We were talking to Lehman Bennett last night about where he stood. And he said what he really needs is a full training camp.
He said it's really not fair. He only gets like 6 or 7 snaps during the week. And you just, you know, they give all their snaps to the starting quarterback.
That's Wilder up the middle for about 4 or 5. Jim Burt on the bottom of the pile. That play is not going to get them their first victory. Joe Morris has had a big day. Carried it 24 times, picked up 129 yards, scored the only Giant touchdown. Wilder 20 for 75. Second and 5. He just got 5 more, Wilder did. To Carter. He gets out of bounds. And again, it's a Buccaneer first down. Taken out by Elvis Patterson, a gain of 13.
You know, Steve DeBerg seems to be a streak quarterback. When he gets something going, it looks like you can't stop him. But it is sometimes the gap between getting something going is just too wide.
Whatever was wrong with Jerry Bell, he's back in the lineup now. He came off. I didn't think he'd play again for 2 weeks.
No, then he started jogging up and down the sideline. I guess it just felt better and better.
Bell is split wide to the right. Carter is the man in motion. Here's DeBerg. They get it to Bell. And Bell gets down to about the 2. And from that point, the Buccaneers have a crack to bring it closer. 22-13, the Giants lead. Clock running, 3:05 left to play.
Well, you know, I know what the Buccaneers are thinking now is they need a combination of a field goal and a touchdown to win this game. And really, they have enough time. Time isn't of the essence yet, but they want to get to 7 now, then work for the 3. The big decision will be whether the onside kick or not.
They had to call a timeout, remember, when they only had 10 men on the field. DeBerg fakes to Wilder, gets it out to Andrew Armstrong. He had a touchdown if he could hold on. Lawrence Taylor was the defender.
That was a bootleg. Watch him. He's going to fake here. Now he bootlegs out here to the left. Andrew Armstrong's wide open. Just thrown a little behind him, but that doesn't mean anything. You got to catch it. You're going to get hit anyway. And again, there's no one that realizes that better than Andrew Armstrong.
Clock is stopped now with 2:37 left to play. Third down, 2. Ball at the 2.
But the Buccaneers have to realize if they don't score on this play, they have to kick a field goal.
They give to Wilder. Buccaneer players put the hands up, but I haven't seen any official with the... Now I don't know about that field goal. It depends on how close they are.
Well, they still need 10 points. I think it's a mistake to go for it here. You need a 3 and a 7 or a 7 and a 3. Because if they don't make it, they don't have a chance to win.
They need about a foot. Now they call a timeout with 2:31 left, which means they only have 1 timeout remaining. And Jerry Bell is hurt again.
I'll tell you, right there at the end, when Lawrence Taylor got in that, did you see at the end of the play? He took Bell's shoulders, and instead of going forward, he turned them sideways, and that was the difference between getting in. It was a good play by Taylor. Taylor looks like he's trying to get down there and get some oxygen, man. He's tired. There's a tired look. You get down, what do you call that, a hunker position?
Yeah. That's a full hunker. It was. 17 plays for the Bucs in this drive. They need about a foot for that touchdown.
I still say that it's not worth it to go in this situation. You need 2. And you took your shot, you didn't get it, and I know it's a tough thing to do. It's a tough thing to do to kick a field goal here. But I still believe that's because if you don't make it, you can't win. You kick the field goal, you still have a chance to win.
Another final score. Pittsburgh has defeated Cleveland 10-9, and that AFC Central is some kind of muddle. I guess that's a good word for it.
You don't even have to have a winning record to lead that deal.
Right. 25-yard field goal by Gary Anderson. Won it for Pittsburgh, 10-9. The Bucs are going for it. Wilder and Andrew Armstrong will be the 2 setbacks. And Steve DeBerg is the quarterback. Got to be Wilder. It's DeBerg. And it's Giles. And it's touchdown.
Well, that's a good call in that situation. because the Giants, in order to stop that play, what they have to do is they all have to get down in here and penetrate. Now, DeBerg can fake the run, bootleg out here. Here's Giles, comes right here. Now watch it. You see, they have to sell out on the run. You see, they sell out. Giles just sneaks out there. There's no one covering because everyone committed to the run.
Bigway hits the extra point, and it's 22-20. With 2:27 left to play, but the Buccaneers have used 2 of their allotted 3 timeouts in this half. So, of course, that means only 1 left.
And the big decision they have now, Pat, is whether to try an onside kick or not. I think with 2:27, even though you only have 1 timeout, you're going to get one at the 2-minute warning. I think you kick the ball off deep. I don't think, with this situation and this time, that you go for the field goal. I mean, the field goal. What the heck am I talking about? You go for the onside kick I'm talking about.
18 plays in that drive by Tampa Bay. They went 78 yards, kept the ball 6 minutes, 5 seconds, and finally got the 6 points on the touchdown pass, the second one of the day, from DeBerg to Giles. The Giants are expecting an onside kick. They've got the people they think have the most capable hands all up around midfield, and Phil McConkey back by himself back at his own 10-yard line. Bigway will do what he can.
And I'll bet you that this guy gets the ball. If Phil McConkey ends up with the ball.
McConkey chases it down, watches it go into the end zone and out. And the Giants will take over at their own 20. The Buccaneers only have 1 first down, 1 timeout remaining. Tonight on CBS 60 Minutes, followed by Murder, She Wrote, Crazy Like a Fox, and Trapper John M.D. Good night.
What the Giants have to do here, the most important thing to them is first down. But they have to get first downs, get beyond the 2 minutes, make Tampa Bay use their timeout, and run out the clock.
Giants handoff is tomorrow. Wrapped up by Jeff Davis. A gain of about 4. And that should get us down to the 2-minute warning. And then again, the Buccaneers only have 1 other opportunity to stop the clock.
That's the big thing. You see, the big thing for the Buccaneers is to stop the Giants. Don't let them get a first down. The big thing for the Giants is they need a first down.
Simply and accurately put. Hey, Phil Simms. Today is Phil's birthday.
His 30th birthday. You know, you always think of Phil Simms as a young guy. You know, like he's always 23, 24-year-old.
You mean you're saying 30's not young?
I mean, you know, you're middle-aged in the NFL as a player. That was a big play for Tampa Bay there because they stopped him on the line of scrimmage, and now they make him in that 3rd down that is darn near impossible to get a first down here with a run. Puts him in a passing situation. Of course, when you get into the passing situation, you always worry about the deflected ball. You worry about the fumble snap. You worry about the interception and those types of things.
3rd and 7. Lionel Manuel just checked in with a play and splits out wide to the right. Seems to be looking in that direction. He gets it out to Mark Bavaro. And he is going to be short of the first down. A good, solid tackle, but the clock continues to run. That's going to be short of the first down.
That was a big play by Ivory Selly. I don't know that Bavaro couldn't have gotten that ball turned out. I'm sure he knew because he was running right to the sideline where he could see the marker that he needed for a first down. The Giants have to punt in this situation. There's no decision. I'll tell you, Ivory Selly made a heck of a tackle coming out here. Just watch him here. You see the red mark here? That's where he has to get up. Right just past the line. Sully came all the way across the field, made that tackle, so Bavaro couldn't get that first down.
Oh, you're right. That was one heck of a play by Ivory Sully.
If he doesn't make that play, the game's over.
Right. Friars back deep for Tampa Bay. Giants have it. Looks like about a half yard short of the first down. The Buccaneers call that timeout, so now they're out of timeouts when they get the ball back.
Well, they get one break, of course, in a timeout here. Change of possession will be an automatic timeout, so they get a chance to call their first play and that type of thing. And I'll tell you, when you have a quarterback like Steve DeBerg, he has been in these types of situations. He's a 9-year veteran. He knows how to run a 2-minute offense. That's one thing. The other thing is he doesn't have to get in the end zone. He just has to get into field goal position.
Bart Oates is the center. John Landetta back to punt for the Giants. Mike Pryor back deep for Tampa Bay. Good snap. Try to block it. Almost got it, but didn't. Pryor takes it, runs out of bounds at about the 35. This telecast presented by the authority of the National Football League. Intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Giants and the National Football League is prohibited.
All Tampa Bay has to do here, they just have to try and pick up approximately 30, 35 yards to get in position for the field goal. So the Giants now aren't defending a whole football field. The Giants have to defend about 30, 35 yards of it to keep them out of field goal position.
Steve DeBerg, the quarterback. The winless Buccaneers. 0-8, trailing by 2. Giants trying to pick up their 6th victory of the year as we move into the second half of the season. Steve DeBerg, the quarterback. Wilder behind him. Here comes the Giant rush. DeBerg finally does get rid of it. Incomplete. Was intended for Kevin House. Lawrence Taylor was the Giant who tried to make the scoop right at the last second.
The big thing is the pass rush here. You see George Martin. He's getting that pass rush. He's grabbing at his arm, grabbing at his shoulder, and then he made DeBerg step up. When DeBerg stepped up, there was number 70, Leonard Marshall.
Second and 10. Bucks at their own 35. Giants leading 22-20. And now Wilder is out. And Andrew Armstrong is behind DeBerg. They show blitz. Carter, the intended receiver. The pass is incomplete. It'll be third down and 10. 55 seconds left to play.
That was a good play by Byron Hunt. I was surprised that the Giants came on a blitz with Elvis Patterson that time. That same one they had had success with earlier. This time Sean Farrell, the left tackle, picked him off. Tampa Bay has 2 more shots at it. Bill Parcells is saying our defense has to do it 2 more plays, then we can start thinking of the Rams.
No blitz this time. Now here comes Patterson sneaking in. A first down and out of bounds for Gerald Carter. Big play there.
Hey, that was a big play, but the big thing, the big play was the catch. The second big play was being able, with no timeouts, to get out of bounds. Lawrence Taylor was right over there trying to stop him from getting out of bounds. But this is a good throw here by DeBerg. Finds Carter here, hits him coming across. Now watch right here. He caught the ball. Now you have to get up. You have to stop him from getting out of bounds. Ted Watts missed him. Lawrence Taylor, when he tackled him, had to tackle him out of bounds.
48 seconds left to play. First and 10 from the 48. DeBerg chased by Merrill, but he gets rid of it. And intended again for Carter, incomplete. Elvis Patterson, the defender, and the clock stops with 44 seconds left to play.
Hey, Casey Merrill, he held out all the training camp. This has been back 3 weeks. In the first couple of weeks, he didn't do much. But today, he looks like he has his legs back again. And this is when you need a pass rusher. If you're going to pay a guy to be a pass rusher, that stuff when you're ahead, you don't need him. You need him right now. They had taken that thing apart. They had taken that thing apart, and the kicker made him put it back together. He said, hey, I'm going to kick one here.
Igwe on the spot now. Here's DeBerg. Pass incomplete, knocked away. Intended for Gerald Carter. Knocked away by Elvis Patterson. And the Bucs have a man down. 3rd down and 10.
Hey, when you talk about intensity level, you measure this intensity level, it's about 92. That was a heck of a play there by Elvis Patterson, coming across, extending his body, and hitting that ball with his left hand. Hey, right now, he could very well be the most valuable player on this team.
New England has defeated Miami 17-13. Those Patriots are playing well. Houston, a final over Kansas City 23-20, and the Oilers gaining respectability. 53 yards was the longest kick ever by a Buccaneer kicker, and it was done earlier today by Donald Bouquet.
I'll tell you, if you look at that field there, the Buccaneers, before trying that field goal, they really only need one more medium-range completion. If they can get the ball down inside that 40 there, then they're going to have a shot at a field goal.
It'll be 3rd and 10, and they're operating now from the 48-yard line, their own. Don't forget, coming up next, the NFL Today, the postgame show with Brent Musburger. And all the scores and highlights from around the league. That's Gerald Carter, for whom the last pass was intended. He had 6 catches for 55 yards today. And again, he is slow getting to his feet. Some of the other scores, the Jets over Indianapolis 7-0 in the first quarter. San Francisco leading Philadelphia 7-0 in the first quarter. Those were later starting games, of course.
You know, at 3rd down, 10 yards to go here. The 10 yards isn't important. That means that the Buccaneers again have 2 more shots to complete a pass to get in field goal range.
And get out of bounds. 40 seconds left to play. 3rd and 10 from the Buck 48. That's Adger Armstrong behind DeBerg. That's Armstrong. And there's a penalty marker down. The Bucks got enough for a 1st down. But there's a flag down. Leonard Marshall and group are saying it's against the Bucks. And it's going to be holding.
Lehman Bennett's going wild on the field down there. It wasn't Lehman Bennett. It was one of his assistant coaches.
Holding number 62, offense, still 3rd down.
Ball on Sean Farrell, who's playing in a strange position, left tackle. Let's see if we can pick it up.
It's against Casey Merrill. You know, I thought that he did one earlier. Here, his left hand starts up there, and then you see him just pull Casey down. So it was that official right on the side picked that up. He was looking right down at it. Again, when he saw Merrill go down, I think that gave him a pretty good tip that it was a hole. But the Buccaneers still have 2 chances to get into that area.
They're backed up to their own 38 now, and here's DeBerg on 3rd down. And here comes the rush. But Kevin House is the intended receiver. It's Terry Kennard who picks it off, and Kennard runs it out of bounds, and that ought to do it. Terry Kennard with the interception off Steve DeBerg.
make the interception.
Intended for Kevin House. And the Giants will just run it out and win a hard-fought, tough 22-20 victory. A lot of upset Buccaneer people. Bill Parcells and Lehman Bennett walk off together. 5 field goals by Eric Schubert. And just 1 touchdown, but good enough for a 22-20 victory for the Giants. And they improve their record to 6-3. Tough job, John.
Hey, that is a tough job. That's when a coach makes his salary at the end of a game like that. When you go through that, you get that close, you do everything you have to. You walk off the field just shaking your head like Bill Parcells